Hello and welcome to Chinese Novel Audiobook. Explore our playlist for more captivating novels, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new audiobook. Now, let's dive into today's story. Chapter 1. The Strongest Entry System. East Blue. This is a luxurious merchant ship carrying celebrities and wealthy businessmen. At this moment, it is very lively inside, with a dance party being held and the wealthy and celebrities are constantly toasting each other on the ship. In the middle of it, a graceful figure with orange hair looked out at the sea. The Alvida pirates should be arriving soon, right? Nami looked at the sea that had just experienced the Uzumaki, her eyes flickering. She got the news that the Alvida pirates were going to attack this merchant ship, so she changed into her dress and sneaked in. When the Alvida pirates appear and attack the merchant ship, she can take the opportunity to steal the treasure of the Alvida pirates. She is a thief who specializes in stealing from pirates. Beautiful lady, can you dance with me? There was a chuckle from behind. Nami looked over when she heard the voice and saw a handsome young man smiling at her. Sure. Nami chuckled and placed her slender hand in the young man's. The Uzumaki just now was really big. Luen brought Nami to the dance floor and smiled as he looked at the heroine from the original Pirates King who was dancing with him. Yes, I was shocked. Nami also laughed. Luen just smiled without saying anything, thinking to himself. Read the entry. Then, a line of light screens appeared in front of Luen. Items: Nami Pirates Blue Navigation, Dark Purple Weather Perception, Light Gold. Pirates Thief Blue, a kind-hearted thief who only steals from pirates villains and has developed excellent thief skills. Navigation Dark Purple, excellent navigation skills, able to sail relatively smoothly in the four seas and even the first half of the Grand Line. Climate Perception Light Gold, able to use the body to accurately sense the weather, and has a strong talent for perceiving the climate. As expected of the protagonist navigator, he already possesses one purple and one gold entry at the very beginning of the story. Luen felt a little emotional. Luen is a traveler from Blue Star. 1 month ago, he traveled from Blue Star to the world of King Pirates. Just when Luen was thinking that it was not good to be transported to this world full of monsters, cheat, which belonged to Luen, was awakened. The Strongest Entry System. As the name suggests, Luen can enumerate the abilities of others and can also load loot. The entries are divided into 4 levels: white, blue, purple and gold. It is simple and clear, giving the feeling of a pay-to-win game on Blue Planet. Among them, the white and blue entries have no hierarchy, giving a very cheap feel to the blue sky and white clouds. Purple and gold entries are divided into 3 levels: shallow, deep, and super. Just by being a pirate thief in the weakest sea, East Blue, Nami's navigation skills have become deep purple, and her natural weather perception is light gold. After joining the Straw Hat Pirates and entering the Grand Line, these 2 attributes will probably be upgraded rapidly. Yes, the entries are not static, but can be upgraded. However, others can only rely on talent and hard work, while Luen can plunder and upgrade through the system. Entry: Luen, Beast Strength, Blue. Beast Strength, Blue, the power of beasts. Just 1 blue entry, which is indeed pitiful compared to Nami's luxurious entry configuration. However, Luen had only been in this world for a month, and he was very lucky to have a dead beast next to him when he crossed over. This beast power, blue, is the entry plundered from the dead beast. Don't be fooled by the fact that there are only blue entries. Most pirates only have some white entries, and some don't even have any valuable entries. They are no match for Luen at all. It was also thanks to this blue entry that Luen was temporarily safe in this sea full of pirates. Not long ago, he found the ship where the story began and boarded it. Entry: starting ship, the ship where the story of Pirates King starts. For entries like this, there is not even any white, only simple explanatory entries. With this entry, Luen naturally won't worry about finding the wrong ship. As for why we are looking for this ship, it is naturally to obtain more advanced entries. This ship will soon be filled with treasures. Luen's mouth curled up slightly. Swoosh. Boom. 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 The next moment, countless shells poured in from the sea, causing violent explosions that instantly plunged the merchant ship into chaos. In the distance, a pirate's ship flying the pirate's flag with a heart and skull was heading here quickly. Help. It's the pirates. Don't mess around. Please don't mess around. ... The passengers' screams and the captain's shouts to maintain order continued to ring out, but under the threat of pirates and artillery shells, it was impossible to maintain normal order. The time has come. Nami looked at the pirate ship flying the Alvida pirate's flag, and her beautiful eyes flashed with joy. But soon, Nami found something wrong. How come the young man who was dancing with her wasn't panicking at all? Instead, like her, he looked at the approaching pirate's ship with a gleam in his eyes. No, maybe you met someone in the same field. Nami was a little wary. It seems that this lady also has something to do, so let's go our separate ways. Luen let go of Nami's slender hand and smiled. Then, without waiting for Nami to reply, he turned and left the ballroom. It seems that they are not from the same industry. Strange. Nami looked at Luen's disappearing back and thought to herself. But it was obvious that this young man, like her, came here for a special purpose. But Nami didn't have time to think about it at this moment, the opportunity to act was fleeting. Nami took off her dress directly, revealing the thief's clothes underneath. Then, he carefully watched the Alvida pirates that had begun to attack the merchant ship, and waited until all the pirates on the pirate ship rushed up. Nami took out a grappling hook and skillfully slid towards the pirate ship of the Alvida pirates. Luffy's oak barrel, got it. Luen threw aside a pirate's minion who had lost his voice in his hand and looked inside the merchant ship. After capturing the merchant ship, the Alvida pirates put all the wealthy and famous people as well as the captain and sailors under guard, and then began to search for all the valuable treasures on the merchant ship. This pirate's minion unfortunately encountered Luen, and was easily defeated by Luen, who possessed the power of a beast. Entry: Oak Barrel, an oak barrel containing monkey. D. Luffy. An entry was displayed from a remote room, very simple and clear. Luen walked towards the room. Chapter 2. Golden Legend. A remote room in a merchant ship hijacked by the Alvida pirates. A dwarf with thick glasses, pink hair, and a cowardly face who was pushing an oak barrel was stopped by 3 pirates' minions, a thin, a fat, and a black one. I found something useful this time, you coward Koby. I just happened to be a little thirsty. The thin pirates had a smirk on their faces. This is the spoils of the pirates. If Miss Alvida knew about this, she would kill us. Koby looked at the 3 pirates with a cowardly face. Why not just keep it from her? Don't you think so, Kirby? The dark-skinned pirates grinned, revealing a threatening look. Yes, you are right. Faced with the threat, Koby immediately looked fawning. Look at me opening him. The fat pirates raised his fist, ready to violently open the oak barrel. Bang! The next moment, a pair of fists suddenly stretched out from the oak barrel and hit the fat pirate's chin, knocking him unconscious. Ah, I slept so well. A young man wearing a straw hat crawled out of the oak barrel, grinning and shouting. Who? The remaining 2 thin, dark-skinned pirates screamed in shock and anger. Huh, why is he sleeping here? He'll catch a cold. The straw hat boy looked at the fat pirates who fell to the ground and asked curiously. Isn't it all your fault? The 2 pirates immediately transformed into sharp-fanged figures. You little brat, did you know we are pirates and come here to cause trouble on purpose? The fat pirates took out a knife and held it across the straw hat boy. Is there any meat? I'm hungry. The straw hat boy ignored him and looked at Koby, who had a dazed look on his face, and asked. Listen carefully to what people say. The skinny pirates roared. In that case, go to hell, little devil. The fat pirates roared and was about to swing his knife at the straw hat boy. The straw hat boy turned around and was about to attack, the next moment. Bang! There was a terrifying force, and the fat pirates flew backwards instantly. The sound of bones breaking was heard continuously, and he crashed into the cabin and died down. You. The last thin pirates looked at the handsome man who suddenly appeared in horror. Koby watched the scene in horror. The fat pirates was knocked silent with a single blow from his bare hands. The sound of the bones breaking was so clear and piercing. Such a huge force is even more terrifying than Alvida holding an iron rod. Who are you? You're pretty strong, why are you helping me? The boy in the straw hat grinned. Luen, you are a passenger on this ship. These pirates hijacked the ship and I am cleaning them out. Luen looked at the famous King Luffy and smiled. Well, alive. Then, he looked at Koby, who was cowering in the corner like a clown with a cowardly and fearful look on his face. Finally, found it. The corners of Luen's mouth curled up slightly. Luen, I'm Monkey D. Luffy. Please give me your guidance. Luffy grinned. Please advise me. Luen also responded with a smile. Just as Luen and Luffy were saying hello, The last thin pirate screamed in fear and ran away quickly while holding his two unconscious companions. Oh no, oh no, if they go find their companions, they'll kill you. When Koby saw this, he screamed in fear. I'm hungry. Luffy ignored Koby and rubbed his stomach. I do have some food from the party. Do you like meat? Luen smiled and took out the food that she had prepared in advance. Meat. Luffy looked at the food Luen brought out with shining eyes, and then began to devour it. Luen, you are such a good person. Luffy ate while grinning. Luen smiled when he heard that. Is Koby a clown worthy of the favor of treating Luffy to a meal? Then, Luen looked at Luffy and thought to himself. Read the entry. A dazzling golden light suddenly lit up. Items: Luffy, superhuman constitution, dark purple, conqueror's haki, unawakened, light gold, strong relationship, special, sun god, super gold, rubber fruit, disguise, dark purple, human fruit, mythical beast, Nika form, unawakened, super gold. Superhuman physique, dark purple, a physique that exceeds that of an ordinary person, which can quickly absorb huge amounts of nutrients to strengthen itself, and has strong physical strength, which can provide sufficient fuel for the activation of devil fruit abilities. Physical physique entries can be upgraded as the owner's physique improves. Conqueror's haki, unawakened, light gold, only 1 in a million people has the talent of a king. It cannot be acquired through acquired skills. Once you have mastered it, you can use powerful pressure to make the weak unconscious. With further mastery, one can use Conqueror's haki for preliminary entanglement, deep gold, and with complete mastery of Conqueror's haki entanglement, one has enough capacity to become the king of the sea, super gold. Strong relationship, special, possessing one of the strongest relationships in the Pirates King world, you can turn a dangerous situation into a good one. If you encounter a desperate situation, you can trigger random effects. Fire Fist, Portgas. D. Ace's Full Force Pursuit, Marine Hero, Monkey. D. Garp's Iron Fist, Revolutionary Army Leader, Monkey. D. Drag's Advent, 4 Emperors, all members of the red-haired Shanks Pirates gather. Special terms cannot be upgraded. Sun God, Super Gold, this generation's Sun God is a warrior who brings hope to people. As long as people's hope is not extinguished, he can stand up again and become stronger and continue to fight. Rubber Fruit, disguise, dark purple, human fruit, mythical beast, Nika form, unawakened, super gold, Paramesha rubber fruit, dark purple, is actually the legendary devil fruit, human fruit, mythical beast, Nika form, super gold. Golden legend. Luxurious. Super luxurious configuration. Even Luen, who had expected this, was envious. This is Luffy who just went to sea. Compared with other pirates, it is simply a dimensionality reduction attack. Sun God, Super Gold. Luen looked at this entry, thinking. This was the only Super Gold entry that Luffy had lit up. Items such as the human fruit, mythical beast, Nika form, Super Gold, and fully mastered Conqueror's haki, entanglement, Super Gold, have not yet been lit up. Sun God, Super Gold, as long as people's hope is not extinguished, they can stand up again and become stronger and continue to fight. It turns out that it was because of this entry that Luffy was able to do infinite sit-ups when fighting Kaido in the original work. Luen finally understood. It was really a bug-level entry. However, when seeing the entry of powerful relationship, special, even Luen, who knew the original plot, couldn't hold back. This was the first time Luen had seen a special entry. Well, it is indeed the adventure story of the Super Third Generation, and it also comes with a buff of all the 4 Emperors' red hair pirates gathered together. Not to mention whether you can beat Luffy, even if you force him into a desperate situation and trigger this entry. If Garp, Dragon, and red-haired Shanks come together, Peak Whitebeard will probably be defeated. However, Luen's target is not Luffy, but you are also from the Alvida Pirates, right? Luen looked at Koby, the clown who was later known as the Deserter King, and said lightly. Chapter 3. Plunder the Deserter King's entry. You are also from the Alvida Pirates, right? Luen looked at Koby, the clown who was hated by countless people and was called the Deserter King. Then he said to himself. Read the entry. Items: Kirby, Navigation, White Conqueror's haki, unawakened, light gold, faction betrayal, special, faction luck, super gold. Even though she had expected it, Luen cursed in her heart. A special entry, another special entry. 1 special, 1 light gold, and 1 super gold. This super gold entry is still lit up, exactly the same treatment as Luffy. Is this kind of clown the original author's biological father? The threshold for an entry to reach the super gold level is an entry with admiral level strength, or an entry with the potential to become at least admiral level in the future. Of course, non-combat entries like Nami's navigation, dark purple, and climate perception, light gold, have another set of evaluation systems. In other words, those who possess super gold level combat potential attributes will at least become an admiral level top level warrior in the future. But Koby, is he worthy? Moreover, this kind of person actually has the qualifications to be Conqueror's Haki, the king. Looking at Koby, who was wearing thick glasses and had a cowardly face, Luen felt disgusted. Then, Luen began to look at the entries. Navigation white, simple navigation skills, can sail in calmer waters. Conqueror's Haki unawakened, light gold, only 1 in a million people possess the talent of a king. It cannot be acquired through acquired skills. Once mastered, it can use powerful pressure to knock the weak unconscious. Faction betrayal, special betrayal at a critical moment, causing the camp to suffer heavy losses. Special terms cannot be upgraded. Faction luck, super gold, when the iconic strongman of the camp dies, the target's luck will be returned to you, and your strength will be greatly enhanced. Need to be near the target. Quote. Luen looked at the explanation of this entry and decided to retract his previous question about, is this clown Koby the original author's biological father? This guy must be the biological father of the original author, Lao Tse. No wonder Koby the Joker can become the so-called next generation marine hero even though he is in this state. No wonder when Garp ended on Honeycomb Island, the clown Koby inexplicably became stronger like that. The problem lies in the entry of faction luck, super gold. This clown used all of Garp's marine heroic luck to strengthen himself. The end does not specifically refer to death. As long as the target's era ends completely on the sea and is within the range that can be plundered, their luck will be plundered. Luffy became stronger on Onigashima. Even with the Sun God, super gold attribute, he was knocked unconscious by Kaido's mace several times before he became stronger. As a result, because of the luck of his camp, super gold, Koby can be greatly strengthened as long as a powerful iconic figure of his camp dies around him. Combined with that special entry, faction betrayal, special, it is definitely linked. Luen also understood. No wonder the clown rushed out to stop Akainu at the Summit War. Akainu was so stubborn that he could listen to the clown's screams and delay time. It turns out that I was influenced by this entry. Faction betrayal, special, betrayal at a critical moment, causing the camp to suffer heavy losses. From the Marines' perspective, because of the delay, the Red Hair pirates successfully arrived, Luffy was successfully rescued, and the remnants of the Whitebeard pirates successfully withdrew from the battlefield. Isn't this a heavy loss? In addition, because of the clown Koby, the era of marine heroes, Monkey D. Garp, came to an end. Then, his faction luck, super gold, entry was used to strengthen himself. When Luen, who was still on Blue Star at the time, saw this, he often greeted the family of Lao Tse, the author of the original novel. But now, for Luen, the stronger the attributes of this clown Koby are, the better. Luen looked at Koby, his eyes flashing fiercely. What? You're one of them? Luffy looked at Koby while eating the food Luen brought him. I am, but there's a reason for that. Koby hesitated. Since you are from the Alvida pirates, then lie down. Luen didn't have time to listen to the clown's nonsense. He kicked Koby with such beast-like force that Koby fainted. Luen, he obviously has no ability to resist, why did you kick him away? Luffy looked at the unconscious Koby and swallowed the food. Because he betrayed his companions. Luen looked at Luffy and said seriously. Luffy's personality is not that of a saint, but he will not take action against people who have no ability to resist. This may also be influenced by Shanks. Betrayed your companions? Luffy blinked. Yes, he is from the Alvida pirates, but he told us to be careful of the pirates. This kind of betrayal is the most despicable behavior on the sea. Companions are precious people to whom you can entrust your life. Quote. Luen said, regardless of whether Koby was forced to become a member of the Alvida pirates, the faction he belongs to at this time is the Alvida pirates. On the surface, he is cowardly and flattering, helping the Alvida pirates, but secretly he is always thinking about betraying the Alvida pirates and joining the Marine. But after joining the Marine, he still stabbed the Marine in the back from time to time, causing the Marine camp to suffer heavy losses. He was simply the ultimate clown. In Marine, although Akainu is not liked by many people because of his so-called absolute justice, Akainu is not a clown. As a strong person, you can be evil, bad, and extreme, but you must never be a clown. Koby's existence is simply for disgusting people. I see. Hearing Luen's so-called companion's remarks, Luffy nodded in agreement. Luen gave him a lot of food and meat even though he was starving. His understanding of his companions is also very much to Luffy's liking. As for Koby, after all, Luffy had just met Koby at this time, and because of Luen's intervention, he didn't even say a few words to him. The reason I asked the question just now was because I was influenced by Shanks and would not attack those who have no power. Now that he knew the reason why Luen made the move, Luffy even wanted to applaud. The guy who betrayed his companions is one of the types that Luffy wants to beat away the most. Plunder. Luen looked at the unconscious Koby and his eyes flashed. To loot the entry, the target must be in this unconscious state. Are these entries something a clown like you deserve to have? Here you go. Buzz. Only Luen could see that Koby's entry was absorbed into his body. Done. Luen's mouth curled up slightly. Items: Luen, Navigation, White Beast Strength, Blue Conqueror's Haki, Unawakened, Light Gold, Faction Luck, Super Gold. Upgrading from a shotgun to a cannon. This is called upgrading from a shotgun to a cannon. Previously, Luen only had one blue entry for Beast Strength, but now it directly has one Light Gold and one Super Gold entry. As for the betrayal of the lineup special, Luen naturally doesn't want it. As mentioned before, the strong can be evil, bad, and extreme, but they cannot be clowns. That is purely disgusting. Luen, who has the strongest entry system, does not need to use such a clown ability to exchange for power. Besides, this special entry cannot be used to upgrade other entries, so it is useless. However, the entry on Navigation, White, is still somewhat useful on the sea. Get rewards for plundering golden entries for the first time. Conqueror's Haki, Light Gold, has been illuminated. A screen of light appeared that only Luen could see. What a pleasant surprise. Luen's eyes flickered. Chapter 4. Super entries all in one. Check the entry. Luen looked at the lit Conqueror's Haki entry, feeling very proud. Items: Luen, Navigation, White Beast Strength, Blue Conqueror's Haki, Light Gold, Faction Luck, Super Gold. Conqueror's Haki, Light Gold. Initially mastering the Conqueror's Haki, you can control it with precision, knocking out weaklings. Weaklings don't even have the guts to look directly at the king. Luen closed his eyes and could feel a terrifying power in his body that he could control. As long as Luen thinks about it, this power can roar out and make the weak unconscious. I didn't expect to get such a reward when I got the golden entry for the first time. Not only did it awaken the Conqueror's Haki, but it also skipped the 2 years in the original book where Luffy followed Rayleigh to learn Haki control. Can use Conqueror's Haki directly and accurately. When Conqueror's Haki first awakens, just like Luffy in the original story, it cannot be controlled and can only perform indiscriminate shock attacks, not distinguishing between friend and foe. Only after training can one perform precise control without affecting his companions, which is the level of Luffy's Conqueror's Haki after 2 years of training with Plunder, Rayleigh. However, because they all use Conqueror's Haki to intimidate and stun the weak, the entry has not changed qualitatively and is still at the light gold level. Only by continuing to evolve and reaching the point where Conqueror's Haki can be used to perform entanglement attacks, can it evolve to the deep gold level. That is, in the original work, Yamato's Conqueror's Haki level. The corresponding threshold for deep gold level combat entries is the combat power entries at the Vice Captain or Admiral candidate level, or the potential entries that are destined to become the combat power at the Vice Captain or Admiral candidate level. Although Luen's Conqueror's Haki can only stun weaklings. But in East Blue, there are few people who can stay awake under the precise control of Conqueror's Haki, and this is enough for now. Possessing Conqueror's Haki means that Luen has a pass to the top powers in this sea. As long as you fully master Conqueror's Haki entanglement and have enough capacity, you can upgrade it to a super gold level item and become the king of this ocean. That is the so-called Emperor level. And because the attack of tyranny is so overbearing, its pure attack power is 1 level stronger than that of an Admiral level strongman who cannot use tyranny. The Vice Admirals and Admiral candidates couldn't even withstand a full-strength attack from such a top powerhouse. Below the Emperor, all are ants. Fortunately, Luen has obtained the pass to become a General King. With the strongest entry system, Luen believes that it is only a matter of time before he fully masters Ba-chan. Oh, it tastes so good. At this time, Luffy, who had eaten all the food Luen brought, patted his stomach and grinned. Luffy has a superhuman physique, dark purple entry, so this amount of food is naturally far from enough for his appetite. However, that is because the superhuman physique, Deep Purple, allows Luffy to quickly digest and absorb a large amount of nutrients in food to strengthen himself, so he can eat such an astonishing amount of food. These foods are enough to fill your stomach. By the way, Luen, are you a pirate? Luffy looked at Luen. Not yet. I'm just a passenger on this ship. Hearing Luffy's words, Luen did not hide anything. Then do you want to join my pirates group and be my companion? Luffy grinned. Luen just showed quite a bit of strength. However, Luffy's criteria for finding companions are not just strength. What made Luffy decide to invite Luen was Luen's remarks about his companions. Because of Shank's influence, Luffy values his companions the most. Luen's words were very much to Luffy's liking. So you are also a pirate? Luen asked knowingly and smiled. Sure enough, it was to invite myself. Preparing meat for Luffy in advance and the remarks about his companions just now really worked. Not only did he not hinder Luffy in dealing with Koby's problem, he also improved Luffy's favorability. So, should he accept the invitation from the future four emperors, the contemporary sun god? Luen's eyes flickered. That's right, I'm the man who will become the king of pirates. Luffy's mouth opened wide, showing his teeth in a very contagious signature smile. An invitation from Monkey D. Luffy has been detected. Do you want to accept it? After accepting, you can load the entries of the members of the pirates group you belong to. After accepting, the faction to which the faction Luck, Super Gold belongs will be updated to the pirates faction. Quote. A line of light screens appeared that only Luen could see. This made Luen blink subconsciously, thinking he had seen it wrong. After carefully reading and confirming that he had not read it wrong, even Luen, who had already obtained so many advanced entries, had a flash of surprise in his eyes. What a pleasant surprise. It would be impossible for Luen not to be jealous of Luffy's attributes, as this was one of the most promising attribute combinations in the pirates' world. But plundering is impossible. Although Luffy has just set out to sea, he has not yet awakened the power of Nika. The rubber fruit, which has not developed abilities such as the second gear, has only been developed by Luffy to the deep purple level where it can skillfully use the most basic abilities. But it is not something that Luen, who currently only has the power of the beast and a conqueror's hockey impact, can defeat. After all, Luffy also has the qualifications of a king, and the probability of knocking him unconscious with just the conqueror's hockey impact is very low. Besides, even if he wins, can Luen, who has not yet grown up, handle the revenge of Garp, Dragon, and red-haired Shanks? As the saying goes, a gentleman does not stand under a dangerous wall. There are so many ways to obtain powerful entries, there is no need to put yourself in danger. But now it's good. I didn't expect that the entry system can also load the entries of the same pirates group members. As long as you join the Straw Hat Pirates, you can load these super items on Luffy. As expected by Luen, the faction's Luck, Super Gold, also enabled him to become a pirate and become a pirate's faction. In this way, when those iconic strong men of the pirates' camp meet their demise, as long as Luen is on the scene, he can take away their luck and greatly strengthen himself. The most iconic strongmen in the pirates' camp are naturally the four emperors. And although they are nominally affiliated with the world government, most of them run their own pirate kingdoms and have the legal right to plunder. The big pirates and the 7 warlords of the sea should still belong to the pirates' camp. And if you want to defeat the 4 emperors, Shichibukai and other iconic strongmen of the pirates' camp, is there a faster way than joining the Straw Hat Pirates? Whether it's loading up Luffy's super item, or conquering the 4 emperors and other iconic pirates to strengthen yourself with the faction's Luck, Super Gold item, joining the Straw Hat Pirates is the best choice. Besides, Luffy is also quite admirable, and Luen was originally going to join the Straw Hat Pirates as an option. After all, Luen has not fully grown up yet, and there are still some uncertainties on the sea. Following the protagonist group can allow him to grow most steadily. Now, with such a huge benefit waiting for Luen, there is naturally no need to hesitate any longer. Well, thank you for your guidance, Luffy. Luen extended his right hand towards Luffy, smiling brightly. Looking at Luffy, it was as if he saw those super attributes on Luffy slowly becoming his own, so Luen naturally smiled very brightly. The attributes of deserter King Koby plus the attributes of King Luffy, the future is really exciting. He, please give me some advice, Luen. Luffy also smiled brightly. Luen was his first companion. P.S. A new book is launched. For new books by old authors, you can click on the author's name to view them. The writing is absolutely non-toxic and non-depressing, so feel free to collect them. New book data is very important. The author is begging for collections, flowers, evaluation votes, and monthly votes. Thank you readers for your great support. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel. Chapter 5. The Shining Conqueror's Hockey. Detected that you have accepted Monkey D. Luffy's invitation to become a member of the Straw Hat Pirates. Faction Luck, Super Gold, has updated the faction to the Pirates faction. You can load the entries of the Straw Hat Pirates members. The current entry target is the captain of the Straw Hat Pirates, Monkey D. Luffy. The entries that can be loaded are Superman Dark Purple, Sun God Super Gold, Rubber Fruit Disguise Dark Purple. Do you want to load it? After confirming his acceptance of Luffy's invitation, a light screen appeared in front of him that only Luen could see. Very user-friendly, the strongest entry system displays the 3 entries on Luffy that can be loaded, and there is an option to load them immediately after each entry. Since the strong relationship special is a special term based on Luffy's background and interpersonal relationships, it cannot be loaded, but as Luffy's companion, you can also enjoy the benefits of this term, so it doesn't matter. Luen thought for a moment, and in his mind, he clicked the yes option behind Superman's physique, Deep Purple, and Sun God, Super Gold. As for Rubber Fruit Open Black Lens Bracket Disguise Close Black Lens Bracket, Dark Purple, Luen did not choose to load it. The rubber fruit that did not complete the awakening and became the human fruit mythical beast Nika form is just an ordinary one in the ability of the Paramesha fruit. If you want to bring out its powerful force, you need to develop the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th gears. According to the information in the original work, such use will consume the life of the person with the ability. For Luen, who can turn other people's abilities into entries and then plunder them, it is not worth it. After Luffy completes his awakening and obtains the Nika power, Luen will directly load the Nika power. Nika's unique imagination, which can be called a bug, is the power of this devil fruit. After Luen selected the add-ons, Luen's entry had 2 more items. Items: Luen Navigation, White Beast Strength, Blue Conqueror's Hockey, Light Gold, Faction Luck, Super Gold. Superhuman Physique, Dark Purple, loading. Sun God, Super Gold, loading. It is very simple and clear, but compared with direct plundering, the loading progress bar behind it does not load very fast. Superman's physique, Dark Purple, was fine, and after a while, he at least moved a little. As for the Sun God, Super Gold, the progress bar didn't move at all, at least with Luen's eyesight, he couldn't see it moving. But think about it, after all, it is a Super Gold level entry, it will definitely take a long time to load. Fortunately, Luen has already joined the Straw Hat Pirates, so there is still plenty of time for Luen to load, so there is no need to rush. Being able to load it is much better than being unable to plunder these powerful items from Luffy and just staring at them. Anyway, these entries will belong to Luen sooner or later. You can then slowly test to see if there is any way to speed up this loading. Then let's prepare to go out to sea. We need to find a boat first. My boat was swept away by that big Uzumaki. Luffy pressed his straw hat and grinned. Luffy, who found his first companion, was in a very good mood. If I can find a ship, I know some simple navigation skills. Luen also laughed when he heard this. This is why Luen plundered the navigation white item from Koby. Luen did not forget that in the original work, before Luffy made Nami a navigator, he basically sailed by drifting. In the original work, it was the clown Koby who used the navigation technique, white, to lead Luffy to find Zoro. Now that Koby has been defeated by Luen, he naturally has to take down this entry and temporarily play the role of the navigator of the Straw Hat Pirates. You're also a navigator. That's great. It's great to have you on board, Luen. Luffy was very surprised. I only have some basic navigation skills. I can't be called a navigator. It's okay to sail in some calm waters in the 4 seas, but if I want to go to the Grand Line, my navigation skills are not enough. Luffy, if you want to become the king of pirates, you must go to the Grand Line, right? Quote. Luen laughed. Of course I have to go. Only by conquering the Grand Line can I become the king of pirates. I made a promise with someone. Luffy held the straw hat in his hands, his eyes filled with memories. Luen knew that this was an agreement between Luffy and the 4 emperors, the red-haired Shanks. Then it is very necessary to find a navigator who can sail on the Grand Line. As Luen spoke, a beautiful figure who had danced with her not long ago emerged in her mind. Hee, of course I will go look for companions and I will definitely find them. Luffy put his straw hat back on and smiled optimistically. Boom. At this moment, above the cabin, a wild boar-like figure smashed through the deck and fell heavily in front of Luen and the others. Are you two brats the ones who came to cause trouble for our pirates? A creature that was so ugly that it could hardly be called a human was holding a large iron rod and had a bloody mouth. Above the smashed deck, there are many pirates' minions. It doesn't look like Zoro the pirate's hunter. After glancing at Luffy and Luen, Alvida grinned with his bloody mouth bared. Zoro. Luffy was a little confused. Koby, you piece of shit, are you still alive? Alvida looked at Koby lying motionless on the side and yelled twice but received no response. His boar-like face was filled with anger. She didn't care about Koby's life or death, but Alvida was very dissatisfied because she didn't hear Koby's words of praise for her. Who is this rude auntie? Luffy pointed at Alvida curiously. Quote exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark quote. The members of the Alvida pirates on the deck were so frightened that they dared not speak. Ha ha ha, she's Alvida, the iron rod with a bounty of 5 million Belis. Luen couldn't help but laugh when he heard Luffy's blunt words. Read the entry. Then he looked at Alvida. Items Alvida, iron rod, blue, super wave gang, blue. Iron rod, blue, able to swing a heavy iron rod that is too heavy for a normal person to lift. Super boogang, blue, even if you jump from a 10-story building, the fat thicker than that of a wild boar can keep the owner safe. Seeing Alvida's entry, Luen couldn't help but curl up the corners of his mouth. Super bow gang, that's really a vivid description. And Luffy's words, and Luen's smile, combined, were the greatest insult to her in Alvida's eyes. Go to hell, you two little brats, Alvida roared, raised his huge iron rod and smashed it at Luen and Luffy. Call out. Luen, who possessed the strength of a beast, exerted force on his feet and jumped onto the deck along the big hole created by Alvida with Luffy. My name is not Brat, my name is Monkey. Luffy, I am pirates, please give me your guidance. Luffy grinned. Who cares what you're called, you little brat? Alvida rushed up next. What a fierce auntie. Luffy looked helpless. Stinky brat. Alvida's eyes were completely red at this time. And those pirates' minions also knew that they needed to perform at this time, otherwise the angry Alvida would definitely smash their heads with her iron rod. So they swarmed towards Luffy and Luen, shouting and killing them. The majority bullies the minority. Luffy yelled, and prepared to fight using the rubber fruit's ability. Leave it to me. Luen reached out and stopped Luffy. In his eyes, red and black light suddenly lit up. Chapter 6. I will stand in the sky. Uranus's. Luen, can you handle so many people? Luffy looked at Luen who walked in front of him and faced the Alvida pirates, and said with concern. Don't worry, my ability is much more convenient than yours, Luffy, in dealing with these small fry. Luen's lips curled up in a hint of hockey, and there was a faint red and black light in his eyes. Trash, you're so arrogant, kid. Do you think you're the pirate's hunter, Zoro? The veins on Alvida's forehead, combined with his rough appearance, made him look even uglier. At this time, Zoro, the pirate hunter, was very famous among the pirates of East Blue. Even the big pirates worth tens of millions are very wary of this man. Zoro, of course I'm not, but. Luen's eyes suddenly focused, and the next moment, the terrifying red and black color in his eyes suddenly materialized, and he roared madly. Remember this name, Uranus, Luen, the man who will stand in the sky in the future. Boom. Conqueror's hockey exploded. Red and black lightning roared madly in the atmosphere. All the members of the Alvida pirates, including Alvida himself, were shocked by the terrifying red and black lightning. The next moment, his eyes widened and he fainted. Bang, bang, bang. On the deck, members of the Alvida pirates fell to the ground. All members of the Alvida pirates were killed instantly. Under Conqueror's hockey, the weak are not even qualified to look directly at the king. The red and black in Luen's eyes gradually subsided. Skay. Luffy just glanced at Luen, and all the members of the Alvida pirates, including the rude old lady, fainted. Suddenly his eyes widened and he roared continuously. I have to say that the emotional value Luffy gives to his companions is still sufficient. At least seeing Luffy's exaggerated surprise in releasing Conqueror's hockey for the first time, Luen felt very good. But I seem to have seen this kind of power before. When I was a child, something like this seemed to have happened to me. After marveling for a while, Luffy's eyes showed some reminiscence. When they were young, the three brothers were captured by some villains. When he was facing a crisis, those villains suddenly fainted. This is called Conqueror's Haki. Under this Haki, the weak will instantly fall unconscious. Luen looked at Luffy and smiled faintly. What Luffy was talking about should be the scene where Portgas d'Ace, the Fire Fist, awakened Conqueror's Haki for the first time because of the crisis Luffy encountered as a child. But then, Ace completely sealed Haki because he hated that this power came from his bloodline, the pirates King Koby. Roger. Luen does not make any comments on Ace's behavior. After all, Luen is not Ace. He has not experienced Ace's pain personally. He cannot stand in the perspective of God and say lightly that it is foolish not to use the power. After all, for Ace, his mother's death was caused by Marine's pursuit of Koby. Roger's bloodline. When he was a child, he was hated by everyone because of this bloodline, and they thought he shouldn't exist in this world. According to the more popular saying on Blue Star, this is called the psychological shadow caused by the original family in childhood. Ace just wants to break away from the influence of his original family. But if Conqueror's Haki hadn't been sealed, with Ace's potential, I'm afraid he wouldn't have ended up like in the original story. All I can say is, Ace, you don't have what it takes to be the king. However, for Luen, Ace's choice in the Summit War that will take place in the future are extremely beneficial. Whitebeard, who has the title of the strongest man, is definitely the top star in the current pirates camp. How much stronger can he become through the faction's luck, Super Gold, when he ends? Luen is looking forward to it. And Whitebeard's shock fruit, Luen, is also a must-have. The difference between the abilities of top-level devil fruits and some rubbish devil fruits is even greater than the difference between humans and pigs. Regarding the statement at the beginning, which was made due to insufficient information, there are no garbage devil fruits, only garbage people with special abilities, it was thrown into the trash in the subsequent plot. The upper limit of each devil fruit's ability is clearly written in the Devil Fruit Encyclopedia. The strength of the devil fruit depends on the devil fruit ability itself, and at most the physical strength and constitution of the ability user. After all, the activation of the devil fruit ability depends on the physical strength of the ability user. In the original work, the best proof of this is that when Sabo just ate the Mara Mara fruit, he was able to exert power that was no less than that of Ace, or even stronger. However, the power limit of each demon fruit is determined the moment it is eaten. The rest depends on the power of Haki and others to improve. The powerful devil fruit, once eaten, will at least give you a Shichibukai level combat power. The reason why Whitebeard is called the man who can destroy the world is because of the power of the shock fruit. Luen would definitely not let Blackbeard take away this top-level devil fruit. Luen must participate in the Summit War. From now on, we must speed up and become stronger so that we can get the biggest piece of the pie in the Summit War. Luen's eyes flickered. But Luen, you said you want to stand in the sky as a man, that's really handsome, Uranus, Luen, hehe, that's a good title. Luffy had no idea how powerful Conqueror's Haki was at this point, and was more interested in what Luen had just said than Conqueror's Haki. The former vice captain of the Pirate King, the man known as the Pirate King's right hand, was called Plunder. Since you are going to be the king of pirates, I think Uranus is a good title for me as a companion. Luen smiled and explained. It's not that Luen has a Chunabu syndrome that makes her say this, the key point is that this is Luen's first appearance on the sea. You know, in the Pirates King world, the shutters of the World Economic News Agency are everywhere. Luen, naturally, we have to choose a relatively nice name. Otherwise, who knows what kind of weird title those marine guys will give themselves in the future. The way Luen got his title was also very simple, the right hand of the Pirates King, Silver. Rayleigh's title was Plunder. The three major ancient weapons in the Pirates King world are Plunder, Poseidon, and Uranus. The title of Plunder already belongs to Rayleigh, and Poseidon does not seem so friendly to Luen from the Blue Star. Then the title Uranus is naturally a good choice. The statement that the future will be established in heaven can also explain the origin of the title Uranus. And this is also a test for Luen. It is detected that the bond with the loading target has been improved, and the entry loading progress has increased. And a line of light curtains made Luen's mouth curl up slightly. Really? Chapter 7. There's a long way to go with Nami. Exclamation mark. I see, Uranus is a really nice title, hehe. At this time, Luffy smiled happily after hearing Luen's explanation of this title. Becoming the king of pirates is Luffy's goal when he went to sea, and Luen, the first companion he found, recognized his dream so much, so Luffy was naturally happy. It is detected that the bond with the loading target has been improved, and the entry loading progress has increased. Looking at the light screen that only he could see, Luen's eyes flickered. Sure enough, there is a way to speed up the loading of entries. Bond. It really has the style of Japanese comics. Looking at the progress of the Superman Constitution, Deep Purple entry which had obviously increased, and the progress of the Sun God, Super Gold entry which had finally moved, Luen's mouth curled up slightly. The name, Uranus, was chosen because it fits the pirates' worldview and is more in line with Luen's aesthetics. More importantly, Luen wants to use this title to test the progress of entry loading. Luffy's dream is to become the king of pirates, so this explanation will naturally enhance my relationship with Luffy. As the target of the entry, whether the improvement of the relationship between Luffy and him can speed up the entry loading is Luen's test. Now it seems that it is effective. Well, it's worth my somewhat childish remarks. Luen looked around the sky but found no sign of the news bird. However, in the Pirates King world, the newsbird is everywhere, and Luen, who has not yet awakened the observation haki, cannot accurately find its location. But we just need to wait for the next report to know whether our title has spread across the sea. After all, Morgans, the president of the World Economic News Agency, is an expert on Conqueror's haki. Although some people later complained that there were too many people who owned Conqueror's haki in New World, if you count them carefully, there are less than 20 people who have been confirmed to have Conqueror's haki in the original work. And these people are not all from the same era. The owner of Conqueror's haki is truly a king. After all, as long as Conqueror's haki is awakened, you will definitely be able to learn observation haki and armament haki, and at the very least, you will be able to cultivate haki to a relatively good level. In other words, as long as Conqueror's haki is awakened, the owner will at least have Shichibukai level combat power. A Conqueror's haki owner has emerged in East Blue. The value of this news is still worth Morgan's writing an article about. Anyway, after joining the protagonist group, with Luffy's powerful relationship special attribute, there is no need to worry about encountering unbeatable pirates and marines before growing up. Luen naturally doesn't need to be too low-key. The so-called magnanimity in the original work should also be one of the important factors for haki's strength. Therefore, being low-key is absolutely not advisable for the strong in the world of Pirates King. Like Blackbeard, who hid on Whitebeard's ship before getting the dark fruit. Because he had been pretending to be a pig for too long, his tolerance kept shrinking, and he also had the idea of spending the rest of his life on Whitebeard's ship. Therefore, in the Pirates King power system, if you pretend to be a pig to eat the tiger, in the end, you will only become a real pig. Only by becoming famous and using the blood of other strong people as a stepping stone can one become a strong person standing at the top of this world. Now that we have taken down these guys, let's quickly find a boat and set sail again. Luffy looked at the Alvida Pirates members lying on the ground and grinned. Swoosh. Boom. 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 As soon as Luffy finished speaking, many shells fell on the pirate ship of the Alvida Pirates. In the distance, the Marine's warships were approaching quickly. Marine, then as pirates we have to retreat quickly. Let's go, Luen. Luffy was no stranger to the Marine warship that appeared. Even his grandfather's warship was much bigger than this one. Learn. Luen's mouth curled up slightly. Luen had no intention of plundering Alvida's entry. The fat, which was thicker than that of a wild boar, had no interest in him at all. Phew, what a great harvest. Nami, who had seized all the treasures of the Alvida pirates, boarded a small boat carrying a heavy package. When Nami saw the marine warship in the distance, she was ready to leave. Swoosh. Boom. At this moment, a small lifeboat crashed directly into the sea from the deck of the merchant ship, causing a wave. Nami blocked the splashing sea water and looked up, only to see a young man wearing a straw hat and a familiar figure above. You are. Nami's eyes widened. Isn't this the man who was on the merchant ship before? It seems that Miss Thief has achieved her goal. Luen smiled as he looked at Nami, who had taken off her dress and was now dressed as a thief, holding a package filled with treasures of the Alvida pirates. Nami subconsciously hugged the package containing the treasure tighter. Do you know her? Luen. Luffy asked curiously. We met once. Luen said with a smile. Is that so? But we have to retreat quickly. Luffy shouted as he looked at the marine warships getting closer and closer. Let's go. Well, see you later, Miss Thief. My name is Luen. Luen looked at Nami and knew that this was not the time to chat. Anyway, Nami's next destination was the same as theirs. Getting too hung up on it may backfire. Without waiting for Nami to reply, Luen used the navigation technique, white, to control the small boat and quickly left in the opposite direction of the marine warship. Reading. Nami muttered the name, and then quickly left here using navigation skills. As for Luen's words, see you later, Nami didn't pay much attention to it. The sea is so vast, it would be a miracle if we could encounter it. Ha ha ha, this is so funny. After completely getting rid of the marine warship, Luffy laughed. By the way, Luen, do you know what kind of guy the pirate's hunter that rude lady mentioned is? Luffy looked at Luen. I have heard that he is a very powerful swordsman, known as a demon beast in human skin. Luen said with a smile. A demon beast. It sounds very powerful. Luffy grinned. Why, are you interested in him? Luen asked knowingly. The disgusting clown Koby has been eliminated by Luen. Regarding the issue of Zoro, Luen naturally needs to be promoted. However, without Koby, the disgusting clown, Luen doesn't mind being a driving force behind the plot. I want to become the king of pirates, so I have to go to the Grand Line. In addition to you, Luen, I need more powerful partners. If that guy is good, I want him to be my partner. Luffy grinned. Then let's go check it out. I heard he's in Shieldstown now. Luen took out a nautical chart that had been prepared long ago and said with a smile. This nautical chart was obtained by Luen on that merchant ship. Then the route is confirmed. Let's go, Luen. Luffy was very excited. Learn. Luen also raised the corners of his mouth, looking very interested. Roronoa. Zoro, I wonder if there is any entry worth adding to this real man known as the Straw Hat Pirates. Chapter 8. Let the boring sea boil again. The headquarters of World Economic News Agency. News. Is there no big news worth reporting? Morgans, the president of the World Economic News Agency, who usually appears in the human-animal form of the bird fruit albatross, is very annoyed at this time. Shitty balance. Shitty world government. Shitty 7 warlords of the sea. Morgan slammed the table and cursed. Since this shitty 7 warlords of the sea system was completely completed, forming a so-called 3 major forces balance situation consisting of naval headquarters, 7 warlords of the sea, and 4 emperors. The number of big news worth reporting cannot be said to be declining sharply, but it is almost gone. Most of the 7 warlords of the sea are running their own pirate kingdoms. They are granted the legal right to plunder by the world government, and the marine will not hunt them down. The 4 emperors are all in the territory that belongs to the New World, and the marine does not dare to rashly go to war with such a force as the 4 emperors. So usually, the marines would capture some small pirates who were not presentable. Those big pirates with high bounties either became 7 warlords of the sea, or were protected by 4 emperors, or simply withdrew from the world stage and changed their identities. The sea of shit was so calm that it was disgusting. How many pirates still have the dream to pursue the great secret treasure, One Piece? Morgans was fed up with the days without any big news. There's more news. East Blue. Is there any news about the weakest sea that's worth my personal attention? When Morgan saw the transmitted information and pictures, and saw the location of the news, he immediately became interested. As the world's largest newspaper organization, the World Economic Information Service has an extremely large structure. In order not to miss any big news, Morgans arranged his men to take pictures everywhere. Although most of these subordinates are located in the Grand Line, there are also some in the 4 seas. For example, when Seahai's men capture something that could become news, they pass it up the chain of command for review. The fact that this news reached his hands meant that after layers of review, this news from East Blue was worthy of his personal review as the president of the World Economic News Agency. This is, when he saw the power released by the young man who called himself Uranus, Luen in the information sent by his subordinates, Morganus jumped up. Countless consecutive photos plus data can create an image-like effect. Conqueror's hockey. There's no mistake. This is Conqueror's hockey. Morgans felt like every cell in his body was cheering. In this sea that has been dry for so long, a newcomer with the qualifications of a king finally appeared. The man who will stand in the sky calls himself Uranus. How crazy. Ha 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 ha, it's good to be crazy. Only then will it be worth reporting. Morgans laughed. If a guy who doesn't know his place said something like this and called himself Uranus, then Morganus would just sneer. Every year, there are some ignorant fools in this sea. But if a Conqueror's hockey owner said this, and a man who was so young and could control Conqueror's hockey accurately, then it was called the ambition and magnanimity of a king. It is worth reporting. No, it should be said that this is big news worthy of the front page. The last newcomer who made him so happy was the Mara Mara fruit user, Fire Fist, Portgas d'Ace, who had already joined the Four Emperors and the Whitebeard Pirates and became the captain of the Whitebeard Pirates' second squad. At that time, Morgan still gained a lot of news worth publishing from Fire Fist Ace. But the damn Fire Fist Ace was finally conquered by Whitebeard, and the news about him stopped from then on. After that, the sea was sickeningly quiet. But now, Morgan's eyes sparkled as he looked at Luen's photo. Conqueror's hockey, a newcomer who is so young but can accurately control Conqueror's hockey, and is so arrogant, he is even more worthy of mention than the Fire Fist Ace back then. And there's more to report. Morgans looked at the information about the boy in the straw hat and the name he used when he introduced himself. Monkey D. Luffy, the captain of the pirates group that, Uranus, Luen joined. Monkey D. Ha ha ha. A strange arc appeared at the corner of Morgan's mouth. As the president of the World Economic News, Morgans is very familiar with this surname. Isn't this the last name of the marine hero, Monkey D. Garp, and the leader of the Revolutionary Army, Monkey D. Drag? Judging from his age, this straw hat boy should be Dragon's son and Garp's grandson. Garp, that old guy, his son became the leader of the Revolutionary Army, and his grandson went out to sea as a pirate. There is also a crew member who awakened the Conqueror's hockey and called himself Uranus. Doesn't this correspond to the title of the Pirates King's right hand, Pluton, Silver, Rayleigh? This is, to become the king of pirates. The grandson of marine hero Monkey D. Garp is going to become the king of pirates. This third generation of grandparents and grandchildren is really interesting. There is so much that can be reported, and it is definitely worth writing about. Well, let's not rush to report on the Straw Hat Boy. The first person we need to report on is Luen. Just like eating one bite at a time, big news should also be reported bit by bit. Morgans had been very frustrated for a while, and now he finally caught a big piece of news. It seemed like a piece of news that he could continue to dig up and report on. Morgans naturally had to seize the opportunity and dig out the most out of the news. The power displayed by this Straw Hat Boy is not eye-catching enough compared to Conqueror's hockey. What is the most important thing about news? It should catch the eye immediately. What could be more eye-catching than a newcomer who claims to be in heaven in the future, calls himself Uranus, and possesses the Conqueror's hockey? Once we catch the attention of the sea, we will then follow up on this pirates group. Moreover, with the surname Monkey, he was not afraid of excessive hype leading to disaster, causing the pirates group to be destroyed prematurely, leaving him with no news to report. It has been a long time since I have come across this kind of news that can be published without restraint. Morgause's eyes lit up. Send this picture to the world, and spread the name of Uranus, Luen to the world. Tell all those garbage in this ocean that have lost their dreams and are about to decay that a new king is about to be born. This long dry sea is finally boiling again, ha 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 ha. Morganus laughed out loud. On Morgan's desk, a close-up photo of Luen was placed. Luen above has extremely high hockey in his eyes, just at the moment of releasing Conqueror's hockey. Soon, the front page headlines about Luen were printed. Below the close-up photo of Luen, there is a title printed in bold letters, I will stand in the sky. Of course, the news about the debut of Straw Hat Boy, Monkey D. and Luffy was also included, and Monkey D. was also highlighted in bold by Morgans. With the help of countless news birds, this report will soon spread across the entire ocean. The long dry sea is about to boil. Chapter 9. Unlimited Devil Fruit. At this time, Luen, who didn't know that her goal had been achieved and that the headlines about her would spread all over the world. He is sailing with Luffy using the navigation technique, White. The landing ahead is our destination, Shields Town. Luen checked the nautical chart and smiled as he saw the land appearing ahead. The happiest thing when sailing on the boring sea is to see land. If you can see the land where your destination is, the joy will be doubled. Because of Luen's advanced preparations, at least he didn't have to starve for days like Luffy did. In addition, the sea area of East Blue is very calm, so this journey is relatively smooth for Luen who has the navigation, White entry. He, we're here so soon. As expected, you need a navigator to go to the Grand Line. Oh, and a musician, too. Luffy was very excited. Before Luen boarded the ship, Luffy's voyages were all based on the free drifting of the small boat brought out from the windmill village. After experiencing the feeling of reaching the destination so quickly and accurately once, Luffy became addicted. However, Luen also said that his navigation skills were not good enough to sail on the Grand Line, so finding a navigator would naturally be on Luffy's agenda. Of course, musicians are a must. Musician, not bad. Luen looked at Luffy with some amusement. Musicians are really Luffy's obsession, but the Straw Hat Pirates will not have a musician until they attack Shichibukai and Moonlight, Moria. During this time, Luen has confirmed it from the entry system. Although the 7 warlords of the sea are nominally affiliated with the world government, they are still pirates in essence and belong to the pirates' camp. He is the most important figure in the pirates' camp, second only to the 4 emperors. Killing the Shichibukai will also allow your faction's luck, super gold, item to take effect. In this way, we can really kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Moria's current strength is among the lowest in Shichibukai, and he is simply a piece of fat meat that is delivered to the doorstep. But before Moria, there are still troublesome guys to defeat. 7 warlords of the sea, Sand Crocodile, Logia Sand Fruit ability user, Crocodile. Luen's eyes narrowed. Sand Fruit, even in Logia, is considered a powerful second-tier devil fruit. With this ability, the devil fruit ability alone will make a player at least a Shichibukai level fighter. With Haki added in, it would be very easy to reach the level of Vice Admiral or Admiral candidate. Of course, Luen's real target is the Thunder Fruit, the devil fruit that is also invincible in Logia. A perfect devil fruit ability that combines speed, attack power, and destructive range, like a natural disaster. This is also the devil fruit ability that Luen must obtain. During the research on the entry system these days, Luen also received feedback that he can possess multiple devil fruit abilities. The entry system allows you to turn devil fruit abilities into entries and then plunder them. Each devil fruit ability plundered by Luen exists as a separate entry. Also, because they are plundering other people's devil fruit abilities by making them into entries, instead of eating them directly. Luen can use the abilities of the devil fruit he plundered without having to bear the side effects of eating the devil fruit. Even if you obtain the abilities of multiple devil fruits, since the abilities exist as separate entries, there is no risk of conflict. Blackbeard's special body structure allows him to accommodate multiple devil fruit abilities. The entry system has turned the devil fruit abilities into entries, and they exist as separate entries. There is no need to bear the side effects of eating the devil fruit, which makes it much stronger than Blackbeard. And in theory, there is no upper limit to the number of devil fruit abilities that one can possess. In that case, then, Sand Fruit, Thunder Fruit, Shock Fruit, Human Fruit, Mythical Beast Nika form. These powerful devil fruit abilities, you want them all. Before that, what Luen needs to do is to strengthen himself to the greatest extent possible. After all, the future Sand Fruit user Crocodile, and the Thunder Fruit user Enel can be said to have been defeated by Luffy's protagonist Halo. Luen, on the other hand, prefers to take his fate into his own hands. In addition, activating the devil fruit ability also requires strong physical strength and physique to support it. Then the item that strengthens the physique is what Luen needs most now. It just so happens that in addition to Luffy, there is another man in the Straw Hat Pirates who will have one of the strongest physiques on the sea in the future. Pirate Hunter, Roronoa, Zoro. Luen moored the boat and looked at the small town, Shields Town, with a slight smile on his face. It's strange, why are people here so scared when they hear the name of Colonel Marine? When looking for Zoro, Luffy, who is familiar with the place, asked the local residents for directions. It would have been fine if they were just scared when they heard Zoro's name, but when they heard the name of Marine Colonel Monka, these residents became even more scared. Marine is not all good to civilians. Marines that act recklessly can cause even more destructive damage than some pirates. Luen said slowly. Luen, who knew the plot, naturally knew that this was caused by the Marine branch colonel, Axeman Monka, who exploited the people. To the common people, pirates are naturally hateful. After all, most pirates are not like Luffy and his friends. Strictly speaking, they are explorers who pursue their dreams. However, except for a few extremely vicious pirates who carried out burning, killing and looting, most of the pirates' harm to civilians was mainly robbing money. After all, the more evil things you do, the higher the bounty will be. Not only will you attract stronger Marines to hunt you down, but you will also be targeted by bounty hunters. Although robbing money is also bad, but if someone like Monka relies on his power to bully the people. Even Colonel Mouse, one of the driving forces behind Arlong's unscrupulous rule in Nami's hometown, is a scumbag. That's a nightmare. If encountering bad pirates, civilians can still look for good Marines, but if they encounter this kind of scum, it will be a disaster where no one can help them. Luen from Blue Star hates this kind of scum the most. While walking, Luen and the others arrived at their destination. The Marine branch here. A man was tied to the rack. Pirate Hunter, Roranoa, Zoro. Luen, look, that's the guy. Chapter 10. Your path to becoming a real monster. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel. Following Luffy, I climbed up the high wall and looked at the man who was tied to the rack in the Marine branch's playground. Although he had his head lowered, he exuded a beast-like aura. For Luen, who possesses the beast strength blue entry, the feeling of this aura is even stronger. As expected, even though he had just debuted, he was called a man who was like a monster in human skin. Luen praised, then secretly said, check the entry. Items: Zoro, 3 swords style, dark purple, monster physique, dark purple, ghost aura, special, conqueror's haki, unawakened, light gold. 3 swords style, dark purple, a unique sword technique in which a sword is held in each hand and the sword held in the mouth is used to perform a fatal blow. The sword has a bite force stronger than that of an adult hyena. Warcraft physique, deep purple, a warcraft covered in human skin. No matter how extreme its training is or how damaged its muscles and bones are, it can fully recover and become stronger. Ghostly aura, special, a unique ghostly power that grants a move a powerful force beyond the norm. Sure enough, Zoro has Conqueror's Haki. Luen looked at Zoro's entry for Conqueror's Haki, unawakened, light gold, and nodded. As one of the 3 strongest fighters of the Straw Hat Pirates in the original work, and second only to Luffy, Zoro's opponent is the Pirate King's right hand, Pluton, Silver, Rayleigh. And Zoro's life experience is not simple, otherwise how could he possess such power as Ghost Energy, special, and even be able to transform into a 3-headed and 6-armed being and use the 9-sword style? It's not surprising that Zoro has Conqueror's Haki. The Ghost Energy, special, entry is an entry that grants skills, making the owner's own skill stronger. Its power essentially depends on the owner's own strength, so it is a special entry. However, looking at the explanation of the 3-sword style, deep purple entry, including the note that the bite force is stronger than that of an adult hyena, Luen couldn't help but feel a little overwhelmed. But it is true that Zoro's ultimate move is always the Sword of Promise, bitten in his mouth, the Wado Ikimonji, one of the 21 great swords. Judging from Zoro's ultimate performance, Zoro's bite force is amazing, which is beyond the reach of an adult hyena. At present, he has not even mastered the power of cutting steel to become a swordsman, and is just a swordsman who fights with brute force. Zoro's 3-sword style is currently at the deep purple level, just like Luffy's rubber fruit, who has not yet developed powerful skills such as second gear and third gear. For Luen, the most important attribute on Zoro is still the Warcraft Constitution, deep purple attribute. No matter how extreme the training is, can muscles and bones recover and become stronger? Luen's eyes flickered. No wonder Zoro can be safe and sound despite such extreme training. You should know that according to official data, Zoro only sleeps 3 hours a day, and the rest of the time, he is in extreme training. If a normal person practiced like this, he would have probably died from broken muscles and bones long ago. Zoro was not only fine, but his health improved to the level of a monster. It is precisely because of this Warcraft Constitution, deep purple entry. And when Zoro was fighting against Kaido, he took the combined attack of 4 Emperors Kaido of the Beasts and 4 Emperors Big Mom. That was a combined attack from 2 peak 4 Emperors. Although he was only blocked for a moment, he was not killed. His bones and muscles were only broken. If someone else present at the time had taken the call, there would have been no trace left. After the treatment, Zoro's body became even stronger, and he even killed the Beast's pirate's big boss, the Flame Disaster Jin, the leader of the 3 disasters. This is certainly due to Luo's op fruit. But this World of Warcraft Constitution, deep purple entry also plays a key role. Even if the bones and muscles are completely shattered, they can recover and become stronger. This entry definitely has the potential to become a golden entry. It's just that Zoro has only been out to sea for a short time, and his physique has not reached as strong as it will be later. So temporarily his superhuman physique entry is the same as Luffy's, which is the deep purple level. Furthermore, this monster physique entry does not conflict at all with Luffy's superhuman physique entry. Even complementary, Luffy's superhuman physique entry allows him to eat a huge amount of food that ordinary people cannot eat, and then absorb all the nutrients contained in it to strengthen himself. Zoro's World of Warcraft physique entry can be trained to an infinite extreme, destroying muscles and bones, and then repairing the bones and muscles to make them stronger. With the huge amount of nutrients absorbed by the Superman's physical attributes as support, it can even make the Warcraft's physical attributes recover faster. The huge amount of nutrition can also support the Warcraft's physical fitness items to carry out higher load training. The combination of these two entries is equivalent to combining the advantages of Luffy and Zoro's physique into one. Even if compared with Kaido's monster physique, his potential probably wouldn't be much different, right? No. In terms of potential alone, she can even be compared with the natural monsters, Four Emperors, and Big Mom, who are at the ceiling in terms of physical settings. Big Mom, Charlotte Luen, is at the bottom of the current Four Emperors in terms of combat performance, but that's because she has always been in a bad state, obsessed with holding tea parties and having children, and has an extremely low combat IQ. But judging from her physical condition alone, Charlotte Luen is undoubtedly the most terrifying monster in the world. When he was young, he was able to seriously injure an adult giant with his innate monster physique alone, and his pure physical defense was even more exaggerated than Kaido, who ate the ceiling of the mythical beasts, the fish fruit, the mythical beast, the blue dragon fruit. Although Superman's physique and Warcraft's physique are definitely not as good as Charlotte Luen's physique. But if they were combined, the upper limit of their potential would be infinitely stronger, and in the future they might even be able to compete with Charlotte Luen, that natural-born freak. The combination of these two terms is simply a passport to becoming a real monster. Luen's eyes lit up at this point. You must get this entry yourself. Of course, the way to get it is also very simple. Just let Luffy pull Zoro on board, and this will naturally load Zoro's attributes. Hey, you two. At this moment, Zoro, who was being watched by Luen and Luffy, raised his head slightly, revealing a pair of beast-like eyes. It's an eyesore, Zoro said coldly. Chapter 11. Absolute tough guy. He, quite unique. I can just untie the rope and let him go. Luffy was stared at by Zoro's beast-like eyes, but he grinned. Luffy, who had been thrown into a pack of wild beasts by his unreliable grandfather Garp to train since he was a child, was very familiar with such looks. This is the look of a wild beast. Even such eyes are sharper than those of ferocious beasts. Although he has never seen Zoro's strength, with such eyes, Luffy can instinctively feel that Zoro is strong. Bang! Just then, a ladder appeared and a little girl climbed up the ladder and raised her finger cutely at Luen and Luffy. Lie. The little girl signaled to be careful, then jumped off the high wall and ran towards Zoro. What? Zoro looked at the little girl running towards him, his beast-like eyes became much kinder, and although his tone was no longer cold, he was still a little impatient. Brother, are you hungry? I brought some rice balls. The little girl smiled brightly, with the rice ball she had carefully wrapped placed on her chest. This is my first time making onigiri, but I put a lot of effort into it. Little devil, do you want to die? Get out of here now. When Zoro saw the rice ball, his eyes remained completely unchanged, even though he hadn't had a drop of water for 20 days. The coldness of words is to avoid involvement. Even if you don't want to implicate this little girl, there's no need to use this method. A soft voice sounded. Who are you? I told you all, you are an eyesore. Looking at Luen jumping down from the high wall, Zoro's face turned cold. This is the sincerity of a child. The sincerity of a child is more precious than gold. Luen looked at the little girl who was a little sad because Zoro didn't eat her rice balls, and touched her little head to comfort her. Luen didn't want the affection of this cute little girl to be ruined by that scumbag Belumber. Well said, Luen. Luffy saw Luen go down and followed. Although he still wanted to observe what kind of person Zoro was, after all, Luffy's criteria for finding a companion were not just based on strength. But since his partner had already decided to leave, Luffy would not just sit there and watch. Luffy will always support his partner's decisions infinitely. You must be Zoro. Luffy looked at Zoro and grinned. Yes, who are you? After hearing Luen's words, Zoro's coldness disappeared mostly, but his tone was still unfriendly. I'm Monkey D. Luffy, the man who will become the king of pirates. Luffy pointed at himself with bared teeth. Luen, Luffy's partner. Luen's mouth curled up slightly. The pirate's king, an idiot. Zoro heard this and looked at Luffy with a twitching mouth. But Luen, do you know something? Why did Zoro say he didn't want to implicate this little girl? Luffy looked at Luen curiously. It's very simple. Judging from the attitude of the residents here towards Marine, Colonel Marine here is not a good person. The name of Pirate's Hunter, Zoro is very famous in East Blue. As a well-known bounty hunter, he would not be tied up here if it weren't for some reason. Luen smiled and said, although he couldn't say that he was a time traveler and knew the plot, it was easy to reversely deduce and give a reasonable explanation based on the plot and the situation here. Then Luen looked at the little girl. But you should tell me the details. Since you risked your life to deliver food, this matter should be related to you. Luen smiled gently. Big brother, my name is Liga. Liga first introduced herself politely, and then told the story that had happened. The son of Marine Colonel Monka, Belumber, often parades around with his so-called pet, a vicious dog. In the restaurant where she and her mother make a living, the vicious dog attacked the customers' food, causing chaos in the restaurant. Liga mustered up the courage to stop it, and was targeted by Belmer. However, Zoro fought back and knocked Belmer and his vicious dog away, but Belmer threatened to use his father's power to sentence everyone present to death. Therefore, Zoro reached an agreement with Belmer that if he could surrender and be tied up here for a month without food or water and survive, Ryaga and the others would be saved. Now, it has been 20 days. You are amazing. If I don't eat for more than 3 days, I will starve to death. After listening to this, Luffy had already decided in his mind to pull Zoro onto his pirate's ship. My perseverance is completely different from yours. I will definitely survive. Zoro gave a determined smile. He was indeed a tough guy. It's a pity that he died here. Luen admired. In terms of perseverance, Zoro is definitely a tough guy. In the original work, Zoro took on the pain of Luffy being hit by the meatball fruit and was seriously injured, bleeding on the spot. And in response to Sanji's questioning, he created the famous scene where he said, nothing happened. Die here, what are you talking about? I still have 10 days to fulfill my promise. I will definitely survive. Zoro thought Luen was saying that he couldn't make it through the last 10 days, and his tone turned cold. I'm not questioning whether you can survive, but do you really think that scum who relies on his father's power to bully the people will keep his promise to you? Luen said lightly. Ha ha ha, he's right. At this moment, a disgusting laugh was heard. A young man, obviously dressed like a second-generation rich, walked towards this side, accompanied by 2 Marines. Belumber. Zoro seemed to understand something, and his eyes became unusually cold. I was going to tell you tomorrow when I execute you. Since someone has already guessed it, it doesn't matter if I execute you today. Belmer looked at Zoro and laughed. You be asterisk 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 D. Zoro's eye twitched slightly. Ha ha ha, the famous, pirate's hunter, died in my hands. My name, Belmer, will surely spread across the sea, ha ha ha. Belmer laughed arrogantly. Swoosh. Bang. As Belumbo laughed arrogantly, an outstretched fist hit his disgusting face and sent him flying. This scumbag. Luffy retracted his rubberized arm and looked coldly at Belmer, who was blown away. You, who are you? Zoro was stunned as he saw this movement, which was totally incapable of being performed by a human. Luffy is a rubber man who ate the rubber fruit. Luen smiled faintly. Chapter 12. Upgradable entries. Rubber fruit. Rubber man. Zoro looked at Luffy in disbelief. Such a thing as devil fruit actually exists. You be asterisk 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 D, you dare to hit me, my dad will kill you. Belmer covered his cheek, which was swollen and red from being beaten by Luffy. Bang, 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 and what responded to Belmer was Luffy's fist. Stop it, if you keep fighting, you will really be killed. The 2 Marines nearby were stunned by Luffy's rubber fruit ability just now, but seeing Belmer almost losing consciousness after being beaten by Luffy, they hurried forward to stop him. Can you please stop interfering with our captain's business? Luen smiled faintly, and a red and black light flickered between his eyes. Buzz. The next moment, an invisible wave swept through the bodies of the 2 Marines. Their eyes rolled up and they instantly fell unconscious to the ground. This is. Looking at the man named Luen in front of him, Zoro's instinct was to clearly sense a terrible power emerging from this man, and then the two Marines lost consciousness instantly. Zoro, who had never seen such power, was filled with disbelief. This is called Conqueror's Haki. A weak person cannot remain conscious under this Haki. The red and black in Luen's eyes faded, and he introduced with a faint smile. Conqueror's Haki. Zoro muttered the unfamiliar term. After he went to sea, he became a bounty hunter because he lacked money to live, and exchanged pirates for bounties. Due to his great strength, he was given the title of Pirate's Hunter, but he had never seen such a strange power. Whether it's the rubber fruit called Luffy, or the power of the man in front of him called Luen. The sea is indeed extremely vast. I feel much better, you scumbag who deserves a beating. Looking at the unconscious Belmer, Luffy breathed a sigh of relief. Check the entry. Luen looked at the unconscious Belmer and thought to himself. Entry Balumbo, whitewashing 3 points, light purple. Whitewashing strength 3 points, light purple, can be whitewashed, and after whitewashing, the strength is improved. This kind of stuff also has a light purple level entry. Moreover, this scumbag, relying on his father's power, has brought disaster to many people. He can be whitewashed and become stronger inexplicably. The original author Lao Tse is really inexplicable sometimes. However, although it is a light purple entry, such an entry is of no use to myself. When Luen was thinking this, a line of light screens appeared. Purple level and above entries can be converted into fixed upgrade entries, which can be used to upgrade existing entries. Looking at the light screen in front of him, Luen's mouth curled up slightly after confirming. It turns out that this is how the upgrade function of the entry system is used. This can also be considered as recycling of waste. Plunder. Belmer's entry was instantly taken away by Luen. Transformation. Looking at the entry of whitewash strong 3 points, light purple, Luen thought to himself. Converted, currently has the number of potential light purple level entries 1. After using this function, Luen finally understood it. To put it simply, it is actually able to convert some entries that Luen does not need into upgrade tools, which are used to upgrade the entries that Luen needs. However, white and blue level entries cannot be used for upgrades. As expected, blue sky and white clouds are very cheap everywhere. And it must be a complete entry, like the entry loaded from the Pirates Group companions because it is a mirror-like relationship. Although it completely belongs to Luen once loaded and there are no restrictions on its use, it cannot be used as upgrade material because it is not a completely plundered item. Entries that reach the light purple level or above and are completely swept away can be used as upgrade materials for Luen's own entries. Combat-related terms are divided into potential terms and strength terms. For example, the faction Luck, Super Gold, plundered from Koby is a potential item. Luffy's Sun God, Super Gold, also belongs to the potential category. The Conqueror's Haki, Light Gold, item that Luen has already lit up can be used directly in battle and is a strength-related item. Like Luffy's Superman physique, Dark Purple, Zoro's Monster physique, Dark Purple, they are also strength-related entries. The level displayed for combat-related entries such as physique is only the level of the entry that the owner's current physique can exert the corresponding strength, and has nothing to do with the upper limit that combat-related entries such as physique can reach in the future. The same is true for combat power items like Zoro's Three Swords style, Dark Purple, and Luffy's Rubber Fruit, Dark Purple. Potential entries can only be used to upgrade potential entries and cannot be used to upgrade strength entries. Seeing this, Luen felt a little regretful. If he could upgrade directly, he would have used the Faction Luck, Super Gold, to upgrade Conqueror's Haki. Although Faction Luck, Super Gold, has great potential, it is still far inferior to fully mastering Conqueror's Haki and Tangle, Super Gold. That is, he directly possesses the power of a General Emperor. However, although it is regrettable, it is also expected. After all, potential is just potential, not strength. If it could be used directly to upgrade strength-related items and allow oneself to possess extremely powerful strength, it would be like creating something out of nothing, and the absolute law of conservation of matter would be broken. At this moment, Luen has a deeper feeling that he is in the real pirate's world. This is a real world. Even if he has such a powerful system, he still needs to follow the law of conservation of matter. If you want to truly reach the pinnacle of this world, the system only gives you a pass to the pinnacle. If you want to become the strongest, you still have to rely on yourself. Luen's lips curled up slightly. This is what makes it interesting. Just let yourself see how far you can go. The capacity is increased, and the strength of Conqueror's Haki increases. A line of light screens appeared. As expected, the strength of Conqueror's haki is linked to the so-called capacity in the original work. Luen saw the light curtain and said secretly. This also proves that his decision to make a high-profile appearance and say the title, Uranus, was correct. In the world of Pirates King, only by becoming famous and turning the blood and failure of the enemies into nutrients can you truly stand at the top of this ocean. It seems that I need to be more high-profile in the future and raise the bounty higher. Anyway, with Luffy's support, he doesn't need to worry about attracting pirates and marines that he can't deal with by being high-profile. Luen thought to herself. With the future clear, Luen moved on to looking at upgrade features. 10 entries of the same level are needed to upgrade it to the next level. For example, this potential light purple entry obtained from Barumba requires 10 to upgrade a potential light purple entry to a potential dark purple entry. Compared to others who can only practice slowly, this method is already extremely fast. At least Luen was very satisfied. In the future, when he encountered some purple or above entries that were useless to him, they would be able to play a significant role. Without this most important light purple attribute, Balloombeer can be said to be completely useless. You guys are pirates, right? Why are you getting involved in this mess? At this time, Zoro said in complete confusion. When I see a scum like this, of course I have to beat him up. Luffy grinned as if to say nothing, then looked at Zoro. Would you like to be my companion? Luffy invited. Why would I become a villain? Zoro was a little confused about Luffy's train of thought and refused. But I have decided that I want you to be my companion. Luffy looked certain. Hey, can you please listen to me? Zoro said angrily. But if you don't agree, you can only wait to die here, right? A man like you should have ambitions that must be fulfilled. Are you really willing to die here? Luen smiled faintly. Quote. Zoro was silent for a moment. Die here? How could I be willing to do that? If he was willing, how could Zoro rely on his willpower to go without food for 20 days? To become the greatest swordsman in the world, to have his name heard even in heaven. This was his promise to his deceased childhood friend, Kuina. That's Zoro's ambition too. By the way, you are a swordsman, right? Where is your sword? Luffy suddenly said. That guy took it away. Zoro looked at the unconscious Belmer. Then I'll go get your sword back for you. If you want your sword, you can be my companion. Luffy grinned and grabbed the unconscious Barumba and left. Hey, wake up. Where is Zoro's sword? If you don't tell me, I'll beat you up. Luffy yelled as he slapped Belmer's face. Luffy, the marine base is over here. Luen called out to Luffy and pointed in the opposite direction from where Luffy left. I see. Thanks, Luen. Luffy quickly turned back and rushed out again. This guy really doesn't listen to anyone at all. Zoro's mouth twitched as he watched Luffy leave. You're so lucky to still agree that this guy should be the captain. Zoro looked at Luen who stayed behind. Although Luffy is a little nervous at ordinary times, he is still very reliable at critical moments. Luen smiled, then looked at Liga. You should go back first, Liga. It's going to be a mess here. Luen said gently. But, Liga looked at the slightly cold rice ball in her hand. Give it to me, Zoro suddenly said. Liga was stunned for a moment, and then a bright smile broke out on her little face. Here, big brother. Seeing Zoro wolfing down her rice ball, Ryuga's smile grew even brighter. It's delicious. I'm full. Zoro finished his last bite and smiled. I'm so happy, thank you, big brother. Liga looked at Luen. She understood that it was because of Luen that Zoro ate the rice balls she made. So, is a child's sincerity more valuable than gold? Luen watched this scene and smiled. Ah, a smile also appeared on Zoro's face. Boom. And just at this moment, a loud noise was heard. Chapter 13. The name of Luen. Loadable entries update. Boom. There was a loud noise. Luen and Zoro looked and saw a huge statue crashing heavily to the ground from the highest point of the marine base, splashing dust all over the sky. This, could it be? Zoro looked at the shattered statue with a twitching mouth. The statue clearly looks like the ruler of this marine base, Marine Colonel Monka. Zoro stayed here for 20 days, and the statue was worked on almost day and night. Monka cared a lot about this statue. It looks like Luffy is lost again. Luen looked amused. In the original story, Luffy was trying to catch Belmer before he knocked down the statue of Monka, but this time Belmer was already in Luffy's hand, and he was able to knock down the statue of Monka. I can only say that someone like Monka is not worthy of this statue at all. Luen, Can I ask you for a favor? Zoro looked at Liga, moved his lips, and spoke with some difficulty. Asking someone for help was harder than Zoro had imagined. Don't worry, nothing will happen to Liga. Luen protected Liga behind him and smiled faintly. Rebel. At this time, a group of Marines, led by a tall Marine, rushed here. The most conspicuous feature of the leading Marine is that one of his arms is an axe. Marine Colonel, Axeman Monka. You are the accomplices of that boy in the straw hat. And you, are you planning a coup? Roranoa. Zoro. That's it, you have committed treason, I will execute you on the spot. Monka's eyes were bloodshot. Luen, at least take Liga with you. Zoro roared. Want to leave? Everyone get ready. Monka raised his hand. Crack. Forced by Monka's strength and power, the Marines had no choice but to raise their guns. Am I really going to die here? Feeling the death approaching, Zoro was not afraid, but extremely unwilling. He has not yet fulfilled his promise to Kuina and become the world's greatest swordsman. Moreover, Liga and Luen were also involved. It's really noisy. Luen protected Liga behind him, with red and black flashing wildly in his eyes. Don't you think too highly of me? I'm just a branch colonel. Buzz. An invisible aura swept over the Marines who were holding guns and ready to shoot. The next moment, bang, 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 the many Marines holding guns looked around and immediately fainted. This kind of power again, can this power be released infinitely? Looking at the fallen Marines, Zoro muttered in shock. Luen, I remember there was a recent news report about a man in East Blue who wiped out the Alvita pirates with his aura without even lifting a finger. A man who claims to stand in the sky. Are you the Uranus, Luen? Looking at this incomprehensible scene, coupled with Zoro shouting Luen's name, and thinking of the most famous news about their East Blue in recent times, a trace of sweat appeared on Monka's forehead. I remember the front page headline of the World Economic News Agency that I saw a few days ago, which completely matches the current situation. The report's evaluation of this man was that a new king of the sea was about to be born. For Monka, who believes that titles are everything, a man with such a title is naturally extremely terrifying. Moreover, he witnessed this incredible scene with his own eyes. The man who will stand in the sky, Uranus, Luen. Zoro muttered as he looked at Luen. What kind of arrogance and magnanimity is this? However, with such power, this man does have the capital to be arrogant. Oh, the report even found out about someone like you. The World Economic News Agency is very efficient. Luen nodded with great satisfaction. At least I don't have to worry about the Marine giving me a weird title. Capacity has increased, Conqueror's hockey strength has increased. Sure enough, Luen's speculation was confirmed again. Being famous on the sea can increase the energy and thus strengthen the strength of hockey. As for the principle, Luen also has some personal experience. Because he saw that when Monka heard his name, sweat broke out on his forehead. Luen felt very happy. Rubber rubber rocket. At this moment, accompanied by a loud shout, Luffy rushed down from the top of the Marine base. Luen, have you solved so many of them? Luffy grinned as he looked at the Marines lying on the ground, where only a few were still conscious. Straw Hat Boy. When Monka saw Luffy, his eyes suddenly turned red. The destruction of his most important statue must be avenged. But, looking at Luen, cold sweat broke out on Monka's forehead. Go ahead, kill them. Monka roared at the few remaining Marines. Colonel, if we continue to fight that man, we will become like them. That man is a monster. The remaining Marines were terrified by this incomprehensible scene. I told you to kill them. Otherwise I'll execute you for treason. Monka roared. What? Internal strife. Luffy looked at Monka who was roaring continuously, then he didn't care and took off the 3 knives on his back. There are 3 in that room. Which one is yours? Luffy looked at Zoro. All 3 are mine, because I am a 3-sword expert. Zoro rode. So, I'll help you untie the ropes and you'll become my companion, or will you stay here and be killed by the Marine? Luffy looked at Zoro and grinned. Forget it. It's better to die here than to become a villain. Zoro exhaled and gave a beastly smile. A beast that feels the threat of death is much more terrifying than a beast in a normal state. Great. We have a new companion. Luffy raised his hand and cheered. If you understand, untie the rope quickly. Zoro looked at the Marines who had chopped off a Marine at Monka and could only come towards them, and he yelled. But the rope is tight. Luffy fumbled with the rope. Bring me the knife. Zoro roared, and in Luffy's surprised eyes, Zoro bit one of them with his mouth. Puff. The next moment, all the ropes on Zoro's body were cut off. Zoro held a knife in each hand, bit a knife in his mouth, and turned his back to block the Marines who were rushing towards him with knives. Roronoa. Zoro joins the Straw Hat Pirates. Currently loading entry target update. Loadable, Roronoa. Zoro entry. A line of light screens appeared in front of Luen. The reason why these Marines and Monka were not wiped out in one go by Conqueror's Haki was that it was a token of loyalty that Luen left for Zoro. Only by fighting Marine here can you become a complete villain. The entry for Zoro is now in hand. Chapter 14. Target locked, the secret of Buggy the Clown. Looking at the light screen appearing in front of him, Luen did not hesitate and clicked load behind the entries of Warcraft Physique, Dark Purple, and Ghost Aura Special. As for the three-sword style, which has a bite force stronger than that of a hyena, it's better to leave it to Zoro himself. Seeing the progress bar behind Zoro's beastly physique, Dark Purple, starting to load, and Luffy's superhuman physique, Dark Purple, already loaded about 1/3 of the progress bar, Luen's mouth curled up. Soon, this path to becoming a real monster will be completely within your grasp. So handsome. Looking at Zoro's unique three-sword style, Luffy, who loves novelty, was amazed. I've become a complete villain by fighting Marine here, but... Zoro looked up and saw Luffy's lips curled up into a beastly smile. I want to become the world's greatest swordsman. If you can't realize this ambition, you must commit seppuku to apologize to me. He. If I want to become the companion of the Pirates King, I will have a headache if I don't have this level of skills. Luffy grinned. Zoro, get down. Rubber, whip. Luffy used the ability of the rubber fruit, stretched out his right leg and kicked away all the Marines behind Zoro. Rebel. Seeing that the most feared, Uranus, Luen did not move, Monka roared and chopped down with his axe. Three swords style, Demon Slash. Puff. A splash of blood splattered, and Zoro used the Demon Slash, one of the most powerful secrets in his swordsmanship. Bang. Under Zoro's Demon Slash, Monk's eyes suddenly turned white and he fell to the ground. I won, hee. Luffy raised his hand and cheered. Your colonel has been knocked down. Are there any other guys who want to come up and fight? Luffy yelled, rolling up his sleeves. Monka was knocked down. The few remaining Marines looked at each other. The next moment. Crash. All the weapons in their hands were thrown into the sky. Great. Monka has been defeated. We don't have to be dominated by him anymore. The Marines cheered and celebrated. What? They're pretty happy that the colonel was defeated. Luffy was a little surprised. After all, most Marines in this era want to do good things for the civilians. Scum like Monka is a minority. Although Luen became a pirate, he did not completely deny the Marine. For civilians, the Marine can indeed bring them security in this chaotic era. Pirates like Luffy who are actually explorers and who can save local civilians are very few in number, and they keep sailing, so the civilians are not protected at all. This is why many countries join the Four Emperors to seek refuge. Only a fixed territory can bring a sense of security to civilians. Well, that's right, he. These Marines give me a pretty good feeling. Luffy thought about it and nodded. You two are indeed different from the average villains. Zoro was a little surprised, and then the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. His promise is as good as gold. If he says he will join, he will definitely join, but it is also worth being happy to be able to join a not-so-bad pirates group. After all, he decided to join not only because he was threatened with death but also because he wanted to continue to fulfill his dream. More importantly, he could feel that Luffy and Luen were completely different from those pirates who burned, killed, and looted. Especially Luen, a man who can say, a child's sincerity is more precious than gold, is definitely not a bad person. Moreover, this man possesses the incredibly powerful power of Conqueror's Haki. As a captain, Luffy, who is recognized by such a man, naturally has his own strengths. Now it seems that his feeling was right. The bond with Zoro increases, and the progress of loading items increases. A line of light screens appeared, causing Luen's mouth to curl up slightly. Well, it really works. Ah, I'm hungry. At this moment, Zoro suddenly fell down. He hadn't eaten for 20 days, but he was still able to defeat Monka just now, all thanks to Liga's rice balls. Brother, come to my house for dinner. Liga invited happily. Food, can we go too? Luffy suddenly shouted excitedly. Yeah, of course. Big brother, you saved the town. Liga smiled even more happily. Luen, let's go and eat. Luffy looked at Luen. You guys go ahead. I received news that this marine base has a chart of the Grand Line. I'll go get it first. Luen looked towards the marine base and said slowly. Then we'll go first. Luffy pulled one of Zoro's feet, who had no strength left. Hey, are you sure? Zoro, who had no strength left, had his mouth twitching. It's time to eat. Luffy grabbed one of Zoro's feet and picked up Reika as well, and under Reika's guidance, they rushed towards the restaurant. Zoro, on the other hand, was being dragged by one of Luffy's feet, sliding on the ground. UB******************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** Zoro's roar was drowned out by Luffy's excited shout. Meal. I'll kill you sooner or later. You be asterisk 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 D. Looking at this daily routine, which is considered a famous scene in the original novel, Luen also smiled. Then, according to the entry system, Monka's office was quickly found. Sure enough, Nami opened this safe, but she kept this. She is indeed one of the cowardly trio. After Luen opened the safe, he looked at the paper in his hand with amusement. There was a picture of the Buggy Pirates logo and the words, "I have accepted the chart." As for why Luen knew. Entry, safe, the safe that was opened and closed by Nami. Without the valuable nautical chart, in order to avoid being targeted by the Marine, Nami cleverly kept the paper. As for not encountering Nami, Luen was not disappointed. After all, without observation hockey, it would not be easy to capture Nami, who had experienced in infiltration. But Luen was not in a hurry. After all, they would meet the Buggy Pirates soon. Clown, Buggy. Luen looked at the paper in his hand with a strange look in his eyes. He is a trainee on the ship of Roger Pirates, and is the same as the current 4 emperors and the red-haired Shanks. Even when the Roger Pirates and the Whitebeard Pirates went to war, what was so special about Buggy, who left a deeper impression on Whitebeard than red hair? This was something Luen was very curious about after reading the original work. After all, in the original work, Buggy first relied on his identity as a member of the Roger Pirates to gather a large group of good players, and his identity as a member of the Pirate King crew was broadcast live during the Summit War, and then he became Shichibukai. Later, with various coincidences, thanks to the 2 Imperial Fathers, Hawkeye and Crocodile, they became the 4 Emperors. The performance of its own strength is indeed very bad. However, in front of Luen, who has the strongest entry system, no matter how special Buggy is, it cannot be hidden from Luen. Just like Shanks, I am valued by Roger. I hope you can bring me some surprises, Buggy. Luen took the paper and walked towards Liga's restaurant. Chapter 15. 2 idiots who are easy to deal with. Luen, you're here. Did you find the chart? With the help of the entry system, Luen found Liga's restaurant without even asking for directions. Luffy's mouth was full of food at this time. When he saw Luen coming in, he swallowed the food in his mouth in one gulp. Buggy took it. Luen opened the paper in his hand. Buggy. Who? Is he strong? Luffy asked curiously. It's a pirates with a bounty of 15 million Baileys. That's pretty good for East Blue. Luen smiled faintly. 15 million Baileys. If I kill him, will my bounty be that much? When Luffy heard the word bounty, his eyes lit up. Perhaps. Luen looked at Luffy and the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. Well, I've taken the bait. Yoshi. Then go kill that Buggy and take back the sea chart. Luffy rolled up his sleeves, ready to fight. Hey, are we going to go to war with a group of pirates just for the bounty? Zoro suddenly felt like he was on a pirate ship. Just before Luen came, he had already confirmed with Luffy. In this pirates group, he is the second crew member besides Luen. And the pirates ship was just a small ship docked at the port. Now, he has to go to war with the Buggy Pirates for the bounty. Although he is not afraid, Luffy is too careless and does not act like a captain at all. It's not just for the bounty. After all, to get to the Grand Line, a sea chart is necessary. If you want to become the world's greatest swordsman, you can't do it in East Blue. Only by going to Grand Line can you realize your ambition. Luen looked at Zoro and smiled faintly. Yoshi, I want Buggy's head. Zoro was eager to fight. Well, 2 idiots who are very easy to deal with. Luen smiled. After deciding on the route, Luen also had a hearty meal at Liga's restaurant. Luen has the power of a beast blue. Although his appetite cannot be compared with Luffy, it is still many times greater than that of ordinary people. However, in order to thank Luen and others for defeating Monka and saving the town, all the residents of the town rushed to send their food to Liga's restaurant. Luen naturally wouldn't be polite. At this time, being polite would ruin the atmosphere. Seeing Luen eating the food they brought, the townspeople all smiled happily. Afterwards, just like in the original story, after the Marines who were unconscious in the impact of Luen's conqueror's hockey woke up, they came to Riaga's restaurant and said that they would not arrest Luen and others, but hoped that Luen and others would leave the town as soon as possible. However, unlike the original novel, the clown Koby has been dealt with by Luen, and Luffy doesn't have to perform a clumsy play again. Plus Luen didn't forget that Luffy and Zoro, who were not prepared in the original story, almost fainted from hunger in the sea. So after preparing some supplies, the three of them came to the Straw Hat Pirates' temporary pirates ship. Let's go. Luffy stood at the bow and shouted with great vigor. Zoro took the oar and steered the boat out of the harbor. Luen held a nautical chart and directed the boat's sailing direction. After Luen and the others left, at the port, the Marines of the branch of this small town saluted Luen and the others to thank them for saving the town, and watched the Straw Hat Pirates go away. Luen, how long will it take to reach the shore? I'm tired of eating apples. I want to eat meat. Luffy said weakly to Luen, who was looking at the sea chart. Stop complaining. If it weren't for Luen, we wouldn't even have apples to eat right now. I can't believe that you want to be the king of pirates, but you don't even prepare any supplies for the sea. Zoro looked at Luffy helplessly. After all, I'm not a professional navigator, so I can't know the exact arrival time. Luen said, looking at the nautical chart in his hand. As for the navigation skill, White, you can only sail in calm seas. If you want to know exactly how long it will take to reach the destination, it is better to leave this matter to outstanding talents like Nami. Then Luen picked up an apple and ate it. Due to Monka's violent rule, the resources of the residents of Shields Town have been almost drained away. In addition, this small boat has no preservation facilities, so it is naturally impossible to prepare a lot of meat. When sailing on the sea, the most important thing is vitamins, otherwise you will get scurvy. Therefore, apples, which are cheap, can be preserved for a period of time, and can provide nutrition, are the first choice. Got it. Let's eat it. At this moment, Luffy looked up at the sky and suddenly shouted. Zoro and Luen looked over to see the sound and saw it was a bird. Huh, I can't fly, how can I shoot it down and eat it? Zoro's mouth twitched. Look at me. Rubber, rocket. Luffy grabbed the sail with his arms, and then used the elastic force of the stretched rubber to soar into the sky. I see. Zoro almost forgot that this unreliable guy was also a devil fruit user. It seems that Luffy is still useful. At least he can improve the food. As for Luen, there was a weird smile on his face. The next moment, bang! Luffy's head was accurately caught by the big bird. Ah, help! Luffy's screams were heard. Idiot! What are you doing? Zoro transformed into a Fang figure, cursing and paddling desperately to chase the bird. You wanted to shoot down a bird to improve its food, but you ended up providing the bird with better food. Entry plot bird, the bird that drives the plot forward. Hey, boat over there, stop. Just as Zoro was trying hard to chase the bird that took Luffy away, three people in distress shouted in the sea ahead. Luen looked at the three people, the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. The treasure and the ship were stolen by Nami, and they are the minions of the buggy pirates. There are victims at this very moment. Hey, I don't have time to care about you. Come up on your own. Zoro yelled as he paddled. The three victims looked in horror at the boat that was heading towards them, then used all their strength to climb up before it hit them. Do you want to kill us? The three yelled at Zoro. It's a good thing you guys can still come up. Zoro's mouth curled up. Hey, we are from the group of that clown buggy. Stop the boat. This boat is ours. The leader of the buggy pirates group threatened with a knife. Ha! Zoro turned his head, a beastly expression on his face. Ha ha ha, we didn't realize you were the famous, pirates hunter, Master Zoro. There is also the legendary, Uranus, Luen, who has recently become famous in the sea. I'm so sorry. Quote. The three buggy pirates who were beaten black and blue took over Zoro's rowing task. They smiled flatteringly while rowing. It's all your fault that we lost our companions. Row forward. Zoro said coldly. Hi, don't worry, that direction is exactly our destination. Luen smiled as he looked at the chart. Well, as expected, even though I prepared apples in advance so that Luffy would not starve, Luffy, who was greedy for meat, still could not escape the fate of having his head bitten by a bird. The bird's destination is Orange Town, where the buggy pirates are currently stationed. Chapter 16. Buggy's Secret. Super Entry. Orange Town. This orange-producing town is now the base of the buggy pirates. Finally got it. Liang, holding the sea chart, was desperately trying to escape. It was Nami who stole the Grand Line chart from the buggy pirates. Behind Nami, the buggy pirates are chasing after her. Ah, help. In the sky, a big bird was flying with Luffy in its mouth. Captain Buggy, there seems to be an unidentified object above the harbor. In a tent on a high point in Orange Town, a man with a conspicuous red nose opened his eyes. Blast it down for me. Buggy spoke coldly. Boom. A shell hit the bird accurately, and Luffy was able to escape and fall to the ground, landing right between Nami and the pursuers. Fa, what happened? Nami looked towards the deep pit that was raising dust. Ah, I'm saved. It's been an interesting journey. Luffy jumped out of the pit, pressing his straw hat. You, who are you? Nami looked at Luffy and felt that he looked very familiar. After a little recollection, she remembered the handsome face who had danced with her on the merchant ship and said, "See you later," at the end. I think her name is Luen. This straw hat boy is the one who was on Luen's ship when they escaped. Nami looked to both sides but didn't see Luen. Hey, you are. Luffy also noticed Nami at this time and looked at Nami's shocked face. Sure enough, this guy also remembered her. Just when Nami was about to say something, she saw Luffy's head suddenly tilted, with a look on his face. Who is it? Quote. Nami's mouth twitched wildly. Since he didn't remember her, why was this guy so shocked when he saw me just now? Boss, it's me. I know Luen. Looking at the dazed buggy pirates' pursuers, Nami quickly adjusted his mood and started laughing. Oh, it's the thief Luen mentioned. Speaking of Luen, Luffy finally remembered. Yes, boss, you are here to save me, so I'm leaving it to you. At this moment, Nami didn't care what Luffy said to her. She pointed at the pursuers from the buggy pirates and ran away. Hey, since you are the boss of that woman, then we will arrest you first and then make that woman hand over the sea chart. The buggy pirates' minions set their sights on Luffy. Ah, I'm hungry. Luffy was holding his stomach, not in good spirits. I'm talking to you. One of the pirates got angry and punched Luffy's straw hat out. Don't touch my baby. Luffy stretched out his arm to take back his straw hat, his eyes becoming extremely dangerous. Once Luffy got angry, these pirates were easily dealt with by Luffy. You're awesome. Nami, who escaped to the roof to observe the situation here, was surprised when he saw this scene. I'm a thief who specializes in stealing from pirates. Nami, do you want to cooperate with me? After seeing Luffy's skills, Nami, who originally only wanted to get the Grand Line chart, set her sights on the treasure of the buggy pirates. No, I don't want to cooperate with you. Luffy glanced at Nami, then turned and prepared to leave. Don't say that, I'll treat you to a meal. Nami said with a smile. Really? Luffy was immediately surprised. Tasty. In a house, Luffy ate a burger in one bite, with a smile on his face. Do you live in such a big place by yourself? Luffy looked at Nami curiously. No, I'm not from this town. Everyone in this town has fled because they are afraid of Buggy. Nami said. That's breaking and entering. Luffy always says what he thinks. How rude. I'm a thief who specializes in stealing from pirates. Don't compare me to something as lowly as breaking and entering. Nami retorted. But a thief is a thief. Luffy said as he ate. I must save up 100 million Baileys. With this Grand Line chart, I can definitely do it. Nami's face was full of seriousness. Sea chart, are you a navigator? Luffy's expression suddenly changed when he heard this. I am much better than the average navigator. When it comes to sailing, Nami is very confident. Then how about joining my pirates as a navigator? Luffy remembered what Luen said, that he must find a great navigator when going to the Grand Line, and immediately sent an invitation. No, so you are a pirate. I hate pirates the most. Nami's expression changed immediately when she heard that. Luen's figure also appeared in my mind. I thought Luen, whose behavior was very strange at the time, was her colleague. It turns out that person is also a pirate. I see. Luffy didn't force it after hearing that and continued eating his food. After knowing that Luffy is a pirate, Nami no longer mentions cooperation and prepares to leave. But when he came to the window and looked at the buggy pirates' pursuers outside, His eyes turned and looked at Luffy. But if you agree to one condition, I will consider it. Nami smiled. Really? I'll promise you anything. Luffy was immediately surprised. Well, you need to accompany me to meet Buggy. Nami took out a rope and tied up Luffy. Why did you tie me up? Luffy looked strange. Any questions? Nami smiled when she saw Luffy was tied up by her. Nami is very kind, otherwise she wouldn't want to earn 100 million berries but only steal the treasure of the pirates. But when it comes to pirates, she has no psychological burden at all. Nothing. I want to meet the pirates anyway. Let's go. Luffy then smiled nonchalantly. Meanwhile, Buggy was getting angry because he couldn't find the thief. Captain Buggy. A pirate's henchman yelled and ran towards Buggy. What's up? Buggy was in a very bad mood, as the Grand Line's nautical chart was very important to him. The thief came by himself. The pirate's minions yelled. What did you say? Buggy's face was full of disbelief. Looking over there, I saw the thief, escorting a tied-up boy wearing a straw hat, walking towards this side. That's them. This woman is the one who stole the chart. A member of the Buggy Pirates group pointed at Nami and yelled. Bang! Nami didn't panic when she heard that, but just pushed Luffy hard, and the tied Luffy fell to the ground immediately. I have caught the thief, Captain Buggy the Clown. I will return the chart to you. Nami holds up a sea chart. I'm glad you got it back, but what changes have you gone through in your state of mind? Buggy took the chart and looked at Nami with a weird smile. I broke up with the boss, I've had enough of him, please let me join you Buggy gang. Nami laughed. This was the strategy Nami came up with. She couldn't leave when the Buggy Pirates were chasing her. Why not just use the pirates and the sea chart to gain Buggy's trust, then find an opportunity to steal the sea chart and leave here? Hearing this, Buggy's eyes suddenly became bloodshot. Bah! Captain Buggy is angry. The power of the devil is about to be activated. The Buggy Pirates members around were terrified. Demon power. Luffy, who was pushed to the ground, blinked when he heard this. Could it be that this Buggy also ate the devil fruit? Ha 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 ha. The next moment, Buggy burst into laughter. Can't stand this guy, you're really an interesting woman. Well, let you join. Buggy laughed loudly. Nami's eyes curved with smile when she heard that. The infiltration was successful, and the pirates were simply gullible. Afterwards, the Buggy Pirates locked Luffy in a cage. Why are you locking me up? Luffy yelled, but no one paid any attention to him. I'm in a good mood today. What's your name, woman? Buggy looked at Nami. Us. Nami introduced herself with a smile. Okay, let's hold a welcome party for Nami. Let's make a grand scene. Buggy opened his arms and laughed. Oh, the Buggy Pirates brothers immediately roared in response. Afterwards, the Buggy Pirates station was filled with fine wine and delicious food. The pirates celebrate by having a party. What's wrong? Eat more. This is your welcome party. Buggy looked at Nami who was sitting in front of him and laughed. Okay, thank you very much. Nami responded with a smile. After the successful infiltration, Nami is planning how to steal the sea chart back and even how to steal the treasure of the Buggy Pirates. The Buggy Pirates are quite famous in East Blue, and Buggy the Clown is famous for his love of treasure. If you can steal the treasure of the Buggy Pirates, you will definitely make a lot of money. Ha ha ha, I'm in a great mood. Guys, prepare the special Buggy bullets. After Buggy had a few drinks, he suddenly burst into laughter. What to do? Nami watched in amazement as the Buggy Pirates set up a cannon and loaded a special shell into it. You have to watch out for the power of the special Buggy bullets. Ignition. Buggy gave a cruel smile. Boom. Special Buggy bullets were fired along with fierce flames. The fierce flames directly blasted the town in front of them through, and countless buildings were destroyed by the violent explosion. What was that explosion? Zoro, who had already reached the shore, looked at the fierce fire. That's Captain Buggy's special move, the Buggy bullet. The three Buggy Pirates who were held hostage by Zoro and Luen explained in a cold sweat. Buggy bullet. Zoro muttered the name. Let's go, Luffy is probably there. After all, he's a troublemaker. Luen looked at the direction where the Buggy bullet was fired, and the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. Long time no see, Buggy. That's so gorgeous. With Buggy bullets and devil fruit abilities, I'll definitely be able to dominate the Grand Line, don't you think, Nami? Buggy looked at his masterpiece made by Buggy with a grin on his face. Yes, Captain Buggy. Nami suppressed the turmoil in her heart and spoke. Fortunately, everyone in the town had left and there were no casualties. Huh, it's me who's going to dominate the Grand Line. I'm going to be the king of pirates. Luffy was immediately dissatisfied when he heard this. Buggy's forehead was immediately covered with veins when he heard this. Ha ha ha, I know why you can't stand this idiot, Nami. Buggy just thought it was ridiculous that a little kid like this dared to say that he wanted to be the king of pirates. That's right, he is a naive person who has never seen the world, so there is no way to follow him anymore. Nami could only agree upon hearing this. Okay, then I'll reward you with a buggy bullet to blow your former boss away. Buggy gave a cruel smile. It also means true loyalty to Lousy. This is the real welcome ceremony, Nami. Crack. A new buggy bullet was loaded and aimed at Luffy. Fire. Fire. The buggy pirates guys around started yelling crazily. Quote. A box of matches was stuffed into Nami's hand, but her hand was shaking. She knew very well that if she didn't fire, she would be killed by Buggy. But how could she become the same as the pirates? What's wrong? Your hands are shaking. Luffy suddenly spoke up. This made Nami jump. It's because you challenged the pirates without sufficient awareness that this happened. Even though Luffy was tied in a cage and was being shot at by buggy bullets, he didn't panic at all. What is enlightenment? Killing others easily. Is this the enlightenment of pirates? Recalling the past, Nami gritted her teeth and asked back. No, it's the willingness to risk one's life. Luffy showed a smile that was different from his usual one, a smile that was typical of Luffy's generosity. Then let me do it. A buggy pirate's henchman saw that Nami didn't take any action, so he took a match and prepared to light the fuse. Swoosh. Bang. Just as the fuse was about to be lit, Nami took out a long assembled stick and knocked the pirate's minion down hard. Nami, what are you going to do? Buggy looked extremely unhappy. Sorry. After Nami's impulsiveness, her timid personality automatically returned and she bowed and apologized. You think an apology is all you need to do? Buggy suddenly transformed into a fanged image. What the hell, you want to save me now? Luffy couldn't figure out what Nami was thinking either. Don't talk nonsense, I was just impulsive. I just don't want to be like the cruel pirates. Nami held a long stick, alert to the buggy pirates members who were gradually surrounding her. What? It was just a spur of the moment action. Luffy thought Nami was going to join his pirates group. The pirates took the life of the most important person to me. Who would want to be with them? Seeing that the situation had come to this point, Nami simply vented his anger. So that's how it is. Luffy understood. No wonder Nami, who originally wanted to cooperate with him, immediately refused to join as soon as she heard that he was a pirate. Squeak. At this moment, the sound of burning fuse was heard. Ah, the fuse is on fire. Luffy panicked immediately. His rubber body could withstand blows, but not explosions. You should know when to stop fooling people, little girl. Kill her in style. At this time, Buggy's eyes were full of bloodshot and he was completely enraged. Die gorgeous. Several members of the buggy pirates who wanted to show off immediately rushed forward. Nami dodged it with her agile skills and then quickly ran towards the lit fuse. Water. Where is the water? Luffy looked around anxiously. Damn it. It's too late. Nami looked at the fuse that was about to burn out, gritted her teeth, and grabbed it with both hands. Ah, the burning pain caused by directly grasping the burning fuse made Nami suffer terribly. Luffy looked at Nami's actions in shock. The fuse, in Nami's hand, finally went out slowly. Go to hell. But the crisis was not resolved, as the buggy pirates behind him rushed towards Nami with weapons in hand. Nami closed her eyes in despair. Bang. With so many people, it's not a big deal to bully a weak woman. A sneer was heard. Zoro. Luffy was surprised to see Zoro killing the buggy pirates with a knife. Sashi ignores me, Miss Thief. Then, a familiar laugh was heard. Nami looked over when she heard the sound, and saw the figure who had danced with her on the merchant ship that day slowly approaching her. Luen, it's a good thing you found this place. Luffy said in surprise. Luen, long time no see. Nami answered subconsciously. She didn't expect that they would meet again on this vast ocean. And, still under such circumstances. Check the entry. Luen didn't have much time to reminisce with Nami at this time, so he looked at Buggy. Buzz. There was a flash of dazzling golden light. Buggy, there really is a big secret. Luen's eyes lit up. Chapter 17. Get stronger by swimming. Super hockey training cheat. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel. Items: Buggy, Cannonball Specialization, Blue, Chop Chop Fruit, Dark Purple Powerful Relationship, Special Conquerors Hockey, Light Gold Unawakened, Born for the Sea, Super Gold Abandoned. A golden light that was as dazzling as the sun god on Luffy suddenly flashed, and then dimmed strangely. The entries on Buggy were displayed in front of Luen. Shell Expertise, Blue, is Buggy's ability to create special buggy shells. And Chop Chop Fruit, Dark Purple, is not worth Luen's attention. Like Luffy, Buggy can only use the Paramesha Devil Fruit in the simplest and most skillful way at this time, splitting itself to attack. Buggy's current use of this Paramesha Devil Fruit is very ordinary, except that it can resist the slashing of swords. Even if the awakening is complete, with the upper limit of this Devil Fruit, the most it can do is to tear the surrounding environment into pieces, such as directly tearing a warship into pieces. Although it is quite effective in chaotic battles after awakening, for Luen, a Devil Fruit of this level is not worth too much attention. Buggy, like red-haired Shanks, is a trainee in the Roger Pirates group. As expected, he also has Conqueror's Haki, but it has not yet awakened. After all, he was the man who became the Four Emperors by accident and could say to his subordinates, "Do you remember what your dream of going to sea is? Doesn't your life cry out? Go and seize it, One Piece." And judging from the information revealed later in the original work, Buggy's background may also be very special. Luen wasn't surprised to see Buggy possess the Conqueror's Haki. Powerful relationships, special, once a member of the Pirates King crew, he has extremely powerful relationships and connections, and can turn danger into safety. This entry is the key to Buggy becoming Shichibukai in the original work, and later becoming Four Emperors by accident. Although it can be said that Buggy was lucky, if he hadn't been a member of the Pirates King crew and a good friend of the red-haired Shanks, Buggy would never have become a Shichibukai, let alone a member of the Four Emperors. In the world of pirates, you can't just get ahead by fighting, you also have to consider the ways of the world. Like in the original work, Kid, who had no connection with Luffy later, was offered a bounty of 3 billion berries after the Battle of Onigashima, but was killed instantly by the red-haired Shanks. Before the final battle, Shanks specifically asked for information about Kid. What Shanks looked at was not Kid's latest achievements and the progress of his fruit ability. Instead, he looked at the network and background of Kid, the boy who dared to repeatedly provoke him. After confirming that Kid had no connections, an ordinary background, and was just a young man, he killed him with a single dodge. But none of this matters. What really makes Luen's eyes light up is the last entry. Born for the Sea, Super Gold, Abandoned, Born for the Sea. Possessing a swimming talent that surpasses the sea. As long as you swim in the sea, you can improve your own capacity. And then improve Haki. Because you eat the Devil Fruit, the sea hates you, so this entry has been abandoned. Luen stared at the entry, his eyes starting to become bloodshot. A super gold item with super potential. A super gold item with a potential ceiling that may even be more exaggerated than Luffy's sun god, Super Gold. No wonder Buggy could become a trainee on the Pirates King's ship like Shanks, and left a deep impression on Whitebeard. No wonder, Pluton, Rayleigh said Buggy's swimming ability will be better than his in the future. No wonder Buggy, before eating the Devil Fruit, could arrogantly say that he wanted to dye Whitebeard's beard red even when facing Whitebeard. The reason lies in the entry, Born for the Sea, Super Gold. In the world of Pirates King, the meaning of the sea is self-evident. The capacity of a strong person is also the key to the strength of Haki in the Pirates King's power system. The term, Born for the Sea, Super Gold, not only gives Buggy a swimming talent that is unmatched in the ocean, but he can also continuously improve his own abilities and thus his Haki as long as he swims in the ocean. If the strength of armament Haki may be related to the owner's physical strength, the strength of observation Haki may be related to the owner's mental strength. Then Conqueror's Haki, the King's qualification, that cannot be strengthened through training, can only rely on sailing on the Grand Line to defeat powerful enemies one after another. Through a method similar to raising GU, using the enemy's failures and blood, the owner can improve his own qualities and become stronger. However, the entry, Born for the Sea, Super Gold, can actually allow the owner to improve his own capacity by sailing in the sea, thereby enhancing Conqueror's Haki. It is conceivable how amazing this potential is. If Buggy hadn't eaten the Devil Fruit and made this entry obsolete. I'm afraid that the man who is called the most Haki on the sea today is not the red-haired Shanks, but Buggy. This Born for the Sea Super Gold entry is like a super hockey training cheat that allows you to become stronger just by swimming. It's no wonder that Buggy, who didn't eat the devil fruit, was so arrogant and confident. In the world of pirates where the sea is respected, it would be strange for him to be unconfident and arrogant with such abilities. But this entry is both the success and failure. After eating the devil fruit, Buggy was rejected by the sea, and this entry was automatically abandoned. From the moment the item that could be improved by sailing in the sea was abandoned, it backfired on Buggy. The intern Buggy on the ship of the extremely confident and arrogant pirates king turned into a cowardly clown Buggy. No wonder Buggy was so high-spirited and brave when fighting the Whitebeard pirates. But after eating chop chop fruit, just a few months later, in the Battle of Iward between Roger pirates and Golden Lion pirates, Buggy became a cowardly loser who said he wanted to run away. Buggy's personality has changed so much in a few months because of the backlash to Buggy himself after the Born for the Sea Super Gold entry was abandoned. Everything is clear. Luen's eyes sparkled as he stared at Buggy. Luen must get this entry. As for physique, once Luffy's superhuman physique, dark purple, and Zoro's monster physique, dark purple, are loaded, Luen's physical potential will allow him to become a monster that is not inferior to Kaido in the future, and he may even be able to rival Big Mom. As for Devil Fruit, with the entry looting system, Luen doesn't have to worry about not having powerful Devil Fruit abilities. If he can get this Born for the Sea Super Gold, then in terms of hockey, Luen will definitely be able to stand at the top of the pirates' world. And it has the strongest entry system. Luen can use the looted Devil Fruit abilities without having to bear the side effects of the Devil Fruit. In other words, even if Luen obtains the power of the Devil Fruit, he will not be rejected by the sea like Buggy was, and be abandoned by the Sea-born Super Gold. Constitution, Hockey, and Devil Fruit are the three most important potentials in the Pirates King world power system. Luen's potential can become the strongest in this world. Buggy did not disappoint me. Luen wants this entry. You be asterisk 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 D, do I know you? Look at me like that. At this moment, Buggy felt a chill. The look in this guy's eyes was bloodshot, as if he wanted to swallow him. I think her name is Luen. Wait, Luen. P.S. In this environment where traffic can only come from strong support, are there still people who read pirates articles like this? The collection is very poor, which I expected, after all, the environment is like this. But in terms of data, if there are any experts who are still interested, could you please give me some investment to give me some confidence? A flower, a rating ticket, a monthly ticket, a comment are all motivation for me to keep going. If anyone is still reading this, could you give me some data and let me know in the comment section? Thank you, little brother. Chapter 18. Show off your power in public. Luen, the Uranus, Luen. Buggy looked at Luen and his expression suddenly changed. The hottest topic on the ocean recently is the report by the World Economic News Agency about the birth of a new king in East Blue. Uranus. I read. That's the man's name. Yes, that's right, Captain Buggy, this guy is Uranus, Luen. And the one with green hair is Zoro, the pirate's hunter. Buggy's little brother next to him took out a newspaper, compared Luen's appearance with it, and swallowed hard. The owner of Conqueror's Hockey. At this moment, even Buggy had some cold sweat on his forehead. Although Zoro, the pirate's hunter, is quite famous among the pirates of East Blue. But as long as you are a swordsman, you don't have to worry about Buggy eating chop chop fruit. But Conqueror's Hockey is different. As a former crew member of the Pirates King ship, except for the final island Raftel did not go to due to illness. Buggy followed the Roger pirates and almost conquered the entire Grand Line. No one in East Blue knows what Conqueror's Hockey means better than Buggy. That is the qualification of a king. Anyone who has awakened is considered a strong person even in the New World. Such a man would actually appear in East Blue. Etc. Buggy suddenly thought of something and looked at Luffy in the cage in disbelief. This Luen, is this kid's crew member? Could it be that the so-called Uranus title was given because this kid wanted to be the Pirates King, in order to compete with Vice Captain Rayleigh's title, Plunder? This means that the owner of this Conqueror's Hockey also believes that this kid can become the king of pirates in the future. Are you kidding me? A cocky brat who said he wanted to be the king of pirates and a man who wanted to be the king of pirates and was recognized by the owner of Conqueror's Hockey were two completely different things. But Why can such a brat be recognized by the owner of Conqueror's Hockey? Buggy's eyes were bloodshot. Uranus's, I read. Nami murmured the name and looked at Luen in disbelief. These days, Nami is so absorbed in the Grand Line charts that she has no time to buy the latest newspapers. Although I haven't seen any reports, with the name, Uranus, being such a hockey and a bounty of 15 million berries, he is considered a big pirate's clown buggy in East Blue. The nervousness and fear when hearing Luen's name were enough to explain everything. Nami also understands the importance of Zoro, the pirate's hunter, in East Blue. But Buggy the Clown was just surprised when he heard Zoro's name, but became very nervous and fearful when he heard Luen's name. Just the name alone makes the big pirate's clown Buggy so nervous. Could this man be so strong? Nami stared blankly at Luen, who was standing in front of her. The capacity is increased, and the strength of Conqueror's Hockey increases. A line of light screens appeared. Luen looked at Buggy, whose forehead was covered with sweat when he heard his name, and at Nami's shocked look behind him, and the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. The reactions of those minions upon hearing his name were not enough to raise his character. However, Luen still benefits greatly from the reactions of important plot characters like Buggy and Nami to his name, which in turn improves his character. The process of upgrading Hockey in the Pirates King world is similar to the process of raising GU. Use the blood and failure of your enemies to make yourself stronger Hockey. The Pirates King's title as the strongest in the world was also built on the blood and defeat of his enemies. The principle is the same. Therefore, the process of improving the quality of the instrument and then improving Hockey by relying on the name. You must make your name more and more famous so that you can constantly rely on your name to increase your capacity and then increase your Hockey. The best way to highlight the reputation of pirates is naturally to offer a bounty. No wonder pirates all value the amount of their own bounties. Of course, this method has too much uncertainty. A more convenient and stable way to increase the amount of equipment and Hockey is to use the Born for the Sea Super Gold item on the clown Buggy in front of you. Buzz. Just as Buggy was about to speak, he saw red and black flashing suddenly in Luen's eyes. The next moment, boom, a terrifying aura suddenly swept out and passed over the Buggy pirates. Quote. Many Buggy pirates minions froze where they were. The next moment, their eyes rolled up and they fainted. Bang, bang, bang. The Buggy pirates fell to the ground. Conqueror's Hockey, activate. The weak do not even have the qualifications to stay awake in front of the king. Skay. Luen. Luffy bared his teeth and yelled, giving it enough emotional value. Sharp. Zoro put away his sword and was also amazed. This power is terrifying no matter how many times I see it. What happened? Nami looked at the scene in disbelief. Judging from the appearance of Luffy and Zoro, it was Luen who did this. But Luen didn't move at all. At most, he just stared, and the Buggy pirates were almost wiped out. What kind of power is this? Although Arlong's power is terrifying, at least it is visible and tangible. Everything that was happening now was beyond Nami's ability to understand. Nami looked at Luen in disbelief with a Hockey curve on the corner of his mouth. Conqueror's Hockey. Buggy's forehead was covered with cold sweat. Although I already knew that Luen had Conqueror's Hockey, feeling the impact of Conqueror's Hockey in person was no joke. If he had not been familiar with this kind of impact when he was in the Roger Pirates, he would probably have fainted instantly. Conqueror's Hockey, or the owner who can precisely control Conqueror's Hockey. Such a man would actually appear in East Blue, and choose such an inconspicuous and arrogant kid as the captain. What a bullshit joke. Sure enough, he didn't faint. Luen felt a little regretful when he saw Buggy, who had sweat on his forehead but did not faint. After all, he was a trainee in the Roger Pirates and had experienced the Conqueror's Hockey tangle collision between Roger and Whitebeard. Although Buggy has not yet awakened Conqueror's Hockey, it is still unrealistic to rely solely on the impact of Conqueror's Hockey to make Buggy unconscious. Then, we have to take other options. Must make Buggy unconscious. Zoro. Luen looked at Zoro. Learn. Zoro saw the look in Luen's eyes and instantly rushed towards the unfired cannon. Before coming, Zoro knew from Luen that Buggy had the chop fruit and his swordsmanship had no effect on it. Drink. As Buggy looked on in horror, Zoro turned the cannon around and aimed it at Buggy. Stop it. There are Buggy bullets in there. Buggy screamed in horror. Boom. The next moment, there was a flash of fire, and the Buggy bullet hit Buggy's feet. A fierce flame suddenly rose up. Chapter 19. A Custom in the World of Pirates King. Luffy the Worker. Miss Thief, it's up to you to unlock our captain's cage. Luen looked at Nami and smiled. Buggy bullets can't kill Buggy. Only Conqueror's Haki can see Luen's current strength. It is simply impossible to use Beast Power, Blue, to fight Buggy who has Chop Chop Fruit. Although in East Blue, the power of precisely controlling Conqueror's Haki is already invincible, when faced with an opponent like Buggy who cannot be defeated by the impact of Conqueror's Haki and has eaten the Devil Fruit, Luffy can only rely on him for the time being. But Luen remembered that in the original book, Nami stole the key, but it was eaten by the puppy Shoo Shoo. Let Luffy do a job for himself and take over Buggy's entry. My name is Nami, you can just call me by my name. Although Luen and his friends are pirates, Nami is also very grateful to Luen and his friends for saving her. Wait. After Nami finished speaking, she disappeared in a flash. Are you using your men as shields, Buggy? The dust and debris in front of him slowly settled, and Buggy's figure reappeared. Looking back, Buggy's two hands had already been shattered into pieces. He blocked the two minions in front of him and took the attack from Buggy. You are so young, and you already have Conqueror's Haki. Your future is truly formidable. But right now, I'm afraid you are no match for Lousy who has Chop Chop Fruit. After the explosion of the Buggy bomb just now, Buggy also completely woke up from the impact of Conqueror's Haki. Although Conqueror's Haki is a king's talent, before mastering the entanglement, this power can only be used for impact. There weren't many people in East Blue who could withstand this level of Conqueror's Haki's impact, but unfortunately, Buggy was one of them. As long as they can withstand the impact, the next step will be a test of hard power. In this regard, after sailing with Roger pirates for so many days and nights, Buggy also has a good eye. The Luen in front of him is obviously not strong. At least, he couldn't be stronger than him, the one who ate the Chop Chop Fruit. I don't know why a man with such a high level of Conqueror's Haki would have such mediocre abilities. But Buggy knew that he only needed to do one thing at this moment, and that was to kill the guy in front of him. As for Pirate's Hunter, Zoro, he is obviously a swordsman. For a swordsman, Buggy who ate the Chop Chop Fruit dared to challenge even Hawkeye. Of course, the most important reason is that Hawkeye knows his and Shank's identities and will not kill them. Looks like I'll have to hold on for a while, Luen. Zoro pulled out 3 knives and faced Buggy. Give me a gorgeous death. Buggy yelled, charging towards Zoro. Puff. Zoro dodged and cut Buggy in half, and Buggy fell to the ground helplessly. Don't play dead. Slashing won't work on Chop Chop Fruit, Buggy. Luen said calmly as he looked at Buggy, who was lying on the ground pretending to be dead and preparing to launch a sneak attack on Zoro. It's really sad. After eating the devil fruit and being rejected by the sea, Buggy, who was attacked by the Born for the Sea Super Gold attribute, used such shameless means. Given Buggy's current strength, if it weren't for the Chop Chop Fruit, Zoro could easily defeat him. Now that you know the secret of Chop Chop Fruit, I won't pretend anymore. Buggy, who was lying on the ground, heard this and his upper body flew up strangely, revealing a cruel smile. Shattered into pieces, the clown's flying knife. Buggy roared, separated his hands from his body, and rushed towards Luen and Zoro respectively with throwing knives in his hands. Rubber bite. What? Buggy watched in shock as Luffy's head suddenly stretched out and he caught the flying knife that was already in front of Luen with his teeth. What kind of body is this? Are you a monster? Nami stole the key and released Luffy. She looked at Luffy's neck stretched several meters and her eyes widened. Your body can stretch to this extent. Did you eat the devil fruit as well? Buggy's eye twitched. That's right, I'm a rubber man who ate rubber fruit. Luffy bit the knife and spoke vaguely. Puff. Zoro first chopped off Buggy's attack with a knife, and then cut the rope on Luffy with a knife. I'm saved, hee hee, thank you, thief navigator. Luffy stretched his arms and legs and grinned. Don't call me names. I'm just repaying you for saving me. Nami looked at the thick-skinned Luffy speechlessly. I have decided to make you the navigator of our pirates group. Hee hee hee, we also need to get the Grand Line's nautical chart. Luffy rolled up his sleeves and looked at Buggy. Don't make decisions on your own. Well, the fight between you pirates has nothing to do with me. I want to take the treasure now and get out of here. We can work together again if we're lucky. Bye. I wish you a successful start. Nami waved to Luen and others, then left in a flash. Oh, thanks. Luffy smiled in response. See you later, Nami. Luen also responded with a smile. Nami, who was about to run away, paused slightly when he heard Luen's words, then accelerated and disappeared from the sight of Luen and others. These words sounded so familiar. What Luen had said to her about seeing her again later had finally come true. Do you still have time to chat here? Straw Hat Boy, when I see your straw hat, I think of that damn red-haired man, which makes me very unhappy. Buggy's eyes were bloodshot. Red hair, do you know Shanks? When Luffy heard the word red hair, it seemed as if a keyword was triggered. So what if we know each other? Buggy gave a weird smile. Where's Shanks now? Luffy asked anxiously. Who knows? If you say I know him, then I know him. If you say I don't know him, then I don't know him at all. Buggy got furious when he remembered that he ate the chop fruit because of Shanks. What are you talking about? Are you an idiot? Luffy looked at Buggy like he was an idiot. I'm not so kind as to tell you what you want to know. Buggy roared with fangs. Then I'll use force to make you speak out. Luffy rolled up his sleeves, ready for battle. Let's just sit here and watch. Buggy is in your hands, Luffy. Luen took Zoro to a clean place to sit down and yelled at Luffy. Listening to the conversation between Luffy and Buggy, Luen also had a strange smile on his face. As expected of the Pirates King world, the network of relationships must be made clear before the fight begins, to avoid accidentally killing people with backgrounds. This is almost becoming a customary practice. Leave it to me. Luffy's eyes were filled with fighting spirit. Luen's worker, Luffy is online. Chapter 20. Get the cheat. Rubber, shattered into pieces. In the battle between Luffy and Buggy, one has a rubber body and the other has a torn body. The battle can be said to be a scene of both of their limbs flying everywhere. Luen was also very interested in watching the Devil Fruit's abilities in action for the first time. Because Luen's Conqueror's Haki cleared the field, Buggy was the only one left in the Buggy Pirates group that could move. As for the others, even the Buggy Pirates' second-in-command, Chief of Staff Kabaji, could not withstand the impact of Luen's Conqueror's Haki and fell unconscious. Therefore, Luen's side was also very quiet. Even if there were occasional flying knives and parts of Buggy's limbs, Zoro beside him could easily knock them away with his scabbard. What a messy fight. Zoro, who had just been out to sea, had never seen such a battle before, and his eyes twitched. It is worthy of being the legendary Devil Fruit, it is so exaggerated. My swordsmanship is totally useless against this kind of demon fruit power. Zoro cut a flying limb of Buggy into 2 pieces, but the limb immediately flew back to the battlefield with Luffy. Zoro's face was full of solemnity at this moment. This was the first time Zoro encountered a situation where swordsmanship was ineffective. Without Haki, the only way to deal with demon fruit power is to find their weaknesses and defeat them. Luen looked at Zoro and decided to open Zoro's eyes in advance. Haki. Is that the power that allows you to make others unconscious? Zoro's eyes narrowed. That's Conqueror's Haki, a king's qualification that only 1 in a million people can possess. What I'm talking about is armament Haki. With this Haki, even normal attacks can cause damage to demon fruit power. Luen smiled faintly. Conqueror's Haki is a king's qualification that only 1 in a million people possess. Also, armament Haki that can attack people with special abilities. Zoro muttered. With the qualities of a king, no wonder Luen's power is so terrifying. So how do you get the power of Haki? Zoro looked at Luen anxiously. Conqueror's Haki cannot be acquired through practice. It is a natural talent of a king. As for if you want to obtain armament Haki, then go conquer the Grand Line, defeat one powerful enemy after another, and improve your ability, Zoro. I said, you can't realize your ambitions in East Blue. Luen patted Zoro's shoulder. Armament Haki also requires sufficient capacity and physique to learn. Without a pervert entry like Buggy's born for the sea, Super Gold, Haki can only be accumulated through conquering the Grand Line and defeating one powerful enemy after another, and then learn to strengthen. This is why, in the 4 seas and even in the first half of the Grand Line, there are almost no Haki users, but in the second half of the Grand Line, the New World, there are a lot of Haki masters. In Sekai, and even in the first half of Grand Line, there is not enough space for people to learn Haki. Grand Line, I'm really looking forward to it. It's really right for me to join you, Luen. Zoro's mouth corners also curled up in a beast-like arc. The sea is so vast. What he learned in Luen was something he had never heard of before. He is looking forward to future travels. At this time, after fighting for a while, Buggy also talked about his past with Shanks. After learning that it was because of Shanks that Buggy ate the chop fruit and became a landlubber, and that Shanks rescued Buggy from the water. So it was Shanks who saved you. Luffy looked at Buggy in sudden realization. That's not what I'm talking about. Buggy turned into a fang figure and roared and complained. Anyway, it's all because of that guy that my life plan has been delayed by 10 years. Later I made up my mind that since the sea was not working, I would plunder all the treasures on land. Just by virtue of the power of chop fruit. Buggy gave a vicious smile. So, anyone who dares to touch my treasure. Buggy's upper and lower bodies separated and flew into the air. No matter who she is, I won't let her go. Buggy roared, and rushed past Luffy towards a beautiful figure in the distance. Put down my treasure. Buggy rushed towards Nami, holding a throwing knife. Oh no, we've been discovered. Nami, who had just stolen the Buggy pirate's treasure, looked terrified. Luffy turned his head and looked at Buggy's lower body, which remained where it was. Call. Luen stood up suddenly. This is the opportunity Luen has been waiting for. Don't think you can escape from my grasp. Nami, look at me tearing you into pieces in a gorgeous way. Buggy looked at Nami, who was so close to him, and smiled cruelly. The next moment, bang! Quote exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark quote. Buggy's expression was distorted. Crack. Luffy kicked Buggy in the lower body, and a faint cracking sound was heard. Bang. Buggy's upper body fell directly to the ground in midair. My crotch. A man's greatest weakness was attacked, and Buggy's face was distorted. However, Buggy did not lose consciousness immediately because of the resistance he had acquired while on the Roger pirate's ship. But the next second, drink, bang, the power of the beast was brought to its ultimate by Luen at this moment. Then he kicked hard at the place where Luffy had just kicked. Crack. The sound of shattering became more obvious. Quote exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark quote. This painful blow made Buggy's eyes roll back and he temporarily lost consciousness. The target loses consciousness and can be looted. The lootable entries are: artillery specialization, blue chop fruit, dark purple, born for the sea, super gold, abandoned. A line of light screens appeared. The unawakened conqueror's haki is not considered strength, but the qualification of the unawakened king. Qualification can only be plundered once, and the same applies to loading. After awakening, the conqueror's haki can be plundered as a strength item. Luen also had no intention of plundering the chop fruit on Buggy. First, Luen doesn't need this mediocre devil fruit. Second, if it is plundered, then Buggy, who has escaped the curse of the devil fruit and is no longer rejected by the sea, may become a big X factor in the future. And Luen likes to take control of the future direction in his own hands. Using a mere chop fruit to avoid a possible X factor in the future is more beneficial to Luen. As for killing Buggy after looting the devil fruit, before the fight, Buggy followed the convention of the pirate's world and reported his network of connections. The relationship between Red Hair and Rayleigh will be of great use to Luen in the future. Compared to the usefulness of the Redhead and Rayleigh's relationship to Luen, chop fruit is not enough to match it. Luen's goal was clear from the beginning to the end. Plunder. Luen suddenly shouted in his heart. A dim golden light that only Luen could see flew out of Buggy's body and entered Luen's body, then it glowed with bright golden light again. Plunder for the sea, super gold, success. Thank you for watching. Continue exploring the fascinating world of Chinese novels with us. Hit that subscribe button on Chinese Novel Audiobook to stay updated with our latest stories, and never miss out on a great listen.